This episode is sponsored by Bookish Wine. If you're obsessed with Child of Shivay, go check out Bookish Wine. They fell in love with the book just like we did and partnered with author JR Cathers to create something truly magical. Their December release features a special edition of Child of Shivay and a Shivaria Malbec, a wine with a collector's label inspired by the book. Bookish Wine is a quarterly subscription box pairing epic romantasy books with handcrafted wine for a truly immersive experience. Visit bookishwine.com to learn more and subscribe using our code Banter and Bookmarks. 21 plus only. Please enjoy responsibly. Banter and Bookmarks is a Bookish Wine affiliate, and we make a small commission when you order using our code.
Happy Fantasy Friday. It's time for book club. We are Lindsey,
Kelly,
and Katharine, and this is the Banner and Bookmarks podcast. We are three book besties diving into romantasy with unhinged theories and a bit of spice.
Heads up, there will be spoilers. This is a 6-episode series covering Child of Shivay, so if you do need a spoiler-free introduction or refresher to the characters or their world, go back and listen to episode 1.
But for now, pour yourself a drink, come escape reality with us, and let's talk about books. Today, we are covering chapters 26 through 34. And there's a lot of information. I feel like we say that every episode.
Yep. Since episode 3, it's been,
boom.
Yes.
1 and 2 were like teasers.
Now they are gold mines of information. And y'all, we have mined that gold. We have panned that gold. We have sifted it in the river for you. And we are about to pull that gold out of those pans and show you the shiny nuggets that we found.
Look at these nuggets.
And wow, that was a metaphor.
That kept going. I'm
Thank
proud of that.
you. I know. Chris and I used to watch a lot of Gold Rush on the Discovery Channel.
That tracks.
That tracks. Okay.
Yeah, that tracks.
Katharine, why don't you get us started with our chapter summaries?
Auri, Rhea, and Shivaria continue their training together, and Rhea notices that Shivaria's former teacher was Drakai. During their session, Rhea also gives Shivaria a few tips on how to pleasure a man. Afterwards, Adora the dressmaker comes to do a final fitting. Shivaria goes back to wait for Xavian in his room, but a Drakai emerges from the shadows and attempts to attack her. He is no match for Shivaria, though, and she is able to climb on top of him and slit his throat. Xavian bursts into the room, checking her for injuries and quickly cleaning her up. Shivaria is shaken to her core. She has killed one of her own people defending Xavian.
Xavian receives intelligence on where the rest of the Latarian ship's crew might be hiding, but Shivaria worries that it might be a trap. Before he leaves, Xavian gifts her with 2 black Fanestone daggers. He leaves for 2 days, and Auri tells Shivaria that his deal with the Naiad was that she asked for a small part of his power in exchange for Vari's life. Shivaria meets Tig in the forest, and Tig and Eon capture Naya, the Naiad. She bargains for it to give Xavian his power back, and the Fae says she will agree to trade in exchange for a piece of the binding that she already gave to Bagya. A simple touch will give the power back to Xavian.
Shivaria wakes up in the middle of the night from her nightmares and has a bloody nose. Kaden says it's possible that her mortal body isn't used to carrying Fane powers, or perhaps it is because of the second bargain she made Naya for another piece of the lie that binds her. Kashek also passes out, clearly due to his unknown powers, and Kaden has to heal, quote unquote, him as well. Xavian returns, and Auri screams at him that she will not lose her mate for this, and Shivaria chastises herself for not realizing earlier that Auri and Kashek are mates. Shivaria overhears the rest of a strange conversation between Xavian, Rish, and Auri. The general comes to bed, and Shivarya gives him back his gift.
Shivarya asks Rhea to take her to the barracks so she can talk to Siseri. Torin is her guard, and after Rhea speaks to him in Fane, he balks and takes her right in. Shivarya tells her that she has come to end her sentence, but Siseri isn't grateful. So Shivarya tells Torin to keep her there until Shivarya is dead. Rhea and Shivarya make their way back to the palace, and on their way back, they come across 5 riders approaching from the north, 4 humans and 1 Fane. They attack, and Shivarya throws one of her new daggers from Xavian straight into the Fane's eyes, killing him instantly. They kill the rest of the party, and before they can gather their thoughts, Rhea yells at her to ride to the palace and not to look back. When they get there, Rhea tells the general that there are Vatruk on the rise, and they encountered 4 Drakai and one of the Vatruk. Rhea says that the Vatruk she saw at the edge of the forest is named Voss, and that Shivarya killed Keswick. Keswick and Voss are mates, so now they fear Voss will come after Shivarya. Xavian also informs Shivarya that the king has returned and offers for her to meet him. She says she isn't ready, and he suggests that she go to visit with Medea while he organizes the guards. Shivarya asks her about the Vatruk, and she gives her a wealth of information.
The next chapter brings us to Brax at the time of the Sundering. Voss is holding her newborn child, but it has already passed. Keswick, her mate, allows Muri, Voss's sister, into the room with her while he goes and speaks to the others. They hear a scream, and they enter the room to Muri on her knees in front of the child, Voss gripping her hair, and a Fane stone blade at Muri's throat. Voss wants Muri to use her power over Shivay to save the child, and at first she refuses. The next morning, Muri has saved the child's life and says that the price she paid for the child's life was tear, and that Shivay is in the child now.
Back in the Acherai Palace in the present day, Shivarya has a conversation with Phaedra and Medea about the Vatruk. Xavian joins the conversation and tells of his time during the Second War. They go back to their room, and they make love for the first time. As they fall asleep, Xavian asks her to stay with him in Acherai permanently, and she nods in agreement. The next morning, they take a shower together and make love again. Shivarya tells Xavian that she does want to stay, but she is afraid of Voss's wrath. Xavian tells her that he sent an invitation for the masquerade to an old friend of his, and she will arrive the next day.
Shivarya sends for Uncle Pelias to visit her at the palace, and she tells him that she saw the shipment from Latari. Pelias tells her that the Vatruk draw their power from the Fae, drawing on the creature's life forces to satisfy their thirst for power. He also tells her that both kings know what is happening in the world and that he is working with the Fane. He calls her the Hana and then hints to her that she is something else entirely.
Shivarya decides she wants to spend the day in the gardens, so Xavian takes his meetings outside. They suspect that a Vatruk named Arda is also in Acherai, and they don't understand why they haven't begun to attack the Fae who take shelter in the northern woods. In the garden, Tig and Eon's mate, reveal themselves to Shivarya, and Tig tells Shivarya she isn't like them and that she is something more. The sprites tell her that she is something that is left by the old blood of the Fae and that the Vatruk are evil. Shivarya goes to visit Auri and check on Keshek. Auri hints that she thinks what is happening to Keshek is her fault. She also encourages Vari to ask her questions about the Fane, and Vari realizes that since she has been in Acherai, everyone has always told her the truth when she has asked. They have an open conversation about Fane and their powers.
Xavian and Shivarya take a bath together, and he tells her that his fangs are for both violence and for pleasure. She notices that he has a new bargain marking on him, but he tells her it is from a bond, not a bargain. She finally asks him what miasna means, and he tells her that it is something precious, a soul bond. They make love into the night, and Shivarya wakes up with thoughts of her pending betrayal on her mind. She has learned too much, and she decides that the next morning she will tell Xavian who she really is. She concludes that she will actually tell the king so that Xavian does not have to be the one to punish her.
Interesting.
Interesting.
All of that turmoil. And guess what? They one and the same.
They definitely are. I'm just happy that this is a chapter that we finally get to talk about that starts with one of my favorite funny lines in the whole book. Must I always wake to people knocking at my door? I feel you, Shivarya. She wakes up to this knocking at the door. She's upset. She says something about Xavian that make my spidey senses tingle. She says, quote, "He's fully dressed and wide awake. Too awake. I glanced at the side of the bed where he'd been sleeping when I dozed off, and there's hardly a wrinkle in the sheets. Because he ain't sleeping. You can't convince me. You can't convince me that he's actually sleeping. He's not sleeping."
Would you sleep next to her with her random demon night terrors? I wouldn't.
No, for sure. But I also think something he is doing something on purpose while she sleeps.
I will point out that there is no mention of her dreams in this instance because she did have an orgasm the night before.
Her demon does love sex.
So yes, her demon loves sex. Her demon is a horny demon. So her demon is kept at bay, but we don't have confirmation if that means that she's not awakened by it versus they still happen. She just doesn't witness it. Yeah. Right? She just didn't witness it because she had an orgasm and that Xavian and the Acherai crew are in fact witnessing what's happening.
Or he doesn't realize that orgasms tame the demon and he's just like sitting at her all night being like,
right. What's going to happen next?
Right. Yeah.
Like just afraid.
But imagine like from a guy's perspective, okay, let's just picture this from the male gaze real quick. If my husband ever found out that I had a demon in me and the only way to get rid of it was through sex, can you imagine
he'd be so happy.
How he would use that to his advantage?
He's so happy. He'd be like, all right, baby, let's take care of your demon tonight.
Let's take care of your demon.
All good.
So
funny.
Let's, again, male gaze. I can only imagine how much fun that will be for him to find out.
And it actually is so funny because going back and reading through those summaries and finally realizing it's in this episode where they finally actually have sex for the first time.
Yep.
And I don't think I realized it in the first few reads, how much of a slow burn this actually is. Like we're at like 75% before they
it's been like 3 whole weeks.
Sex. Yeah.
Come on. What do you think
and
about
a week
that
of that was her traveling and having sex with someone else.
Yeah.
Well, not having sex.
Being taught how to do things.
Her demon was being tamed by someone else.
No, but
tamed and trained.
In the story, in our read of the story, it is definitely it feels like a slow burn. Maybe not in real life.
It's really been like 3 weeks and we're like, guys, calm down. It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks.
She's an adult.
That's true.
Oh my God, that was really funny.
Xavian lays into Rhea a bit, and I kind of thought it was a little unfair. Did you guys
I forgot.
feel that
100%.
way?
He's berating her, right?
Yeah.
For their last training session at this point.
I felt kind of bad for her. And I get it. That's your new mate and you want to protect her, but it's not Rhea's fault.
And Varya's having none of it. She's like, yeah, okay, but when are we training? Like, what time shall I be with you? And she's like, enough. Calm down.
But he does call her Miashna in front of Rhea. And I just love Rhea's reaction because she just goes, oh. Like Rhea realizes how bad this really is.
Sorry, I beat her up.
Sorry, I really didn't mean to punch her. I'm sorry I punched her face, but to be fair, she also punched my face.
Right. And we were having fun. We were punching each other. It was great.
Funny. Yeah, it's fun times all around. But you're right, Kelly. Vari steps in and is like, what time's training tomorrow?
Yeah.
This will happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is some really cute banter in this scene though between Xavian and Shavaria. And I love he's like, Shavaria's like, but I like her. And he's like, you like her? You hold a knife to my throat when I try to help you, but the female gives you black eyes and you liked her? Like,
And
so
Vari is
cute.
like,
Her response?
she wasn't trying to undress me, I say with a pointed stare. I was saving your life.
Right.
Really, he
is not over that for sure.
I think it's interesting to speculate why we've had two different people, Kashek and Rhea, have now heard Xavian call Shavaria Miashna, right? And neither of them say anything to anyone. Auri doesn't find out. Like, it's to the point where Kashek doesn't even tell his own mate this. Just given the fact Kashek doesn't say anything to Auri, I have to wonder if there's some kind of protectiveness over not outing somebody's mate to the wider populace or something here, because otherwise he's saying it a bunch now.
Or hear me out. We have speculated, I think in our last episode, that there is some type of binding or magic or oath that people cannot speak the reality of Xavian / the king. And so if we are following that logic, is it possible that he can't tell Auri because he physically can't? There's some kind of oath. He can't tell the secrets of the king. And since Xavian is the king,
any secrets,
right?
period.
Just in general, I can't tell anything. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to ask me directly, and then I can tell you.
Vari calls Xavian by his name for the first time, and he is practically feral about it.
Here's the thing. And because I don't trust Jess, I'm like, is that just a fun, cheeky thing? Or is it because, as we have theorized, possibly Xavian is his true form, and when he is the king, that's when he is glamored by the siblings. I wonder, and then Felius or someone early in the book made a comment about how, I think it was Auri who said, I've never known the general to take a lover. Maybe as Xavian, he does not take a lover. And so I wonder if no one has called him Xavian in this way before. And it was like, oh my, she knows the real me. That's because we've been theory spiraling about this, I took it as yes, she knows me and she's calling me by my name. She's not calling me by the king name, whatever that might be. And so that was where my theory brain went.
Clearly we're right about this, and he's the king.
Uh-huh.
Whatever the case it is, whether it's a binding or an oath or a dual identity or whatever,
right,
he still has been pretending to not be himself for a long time.
Yeah.
So hearing her say his name might be really special. And then we have Kashek and Rish walking into the room, and we get mention number 47,152 of the dark circles under Kashek's eyes. Count them.
52 or 53?
He really needs some Fane concealer.
Ugh.
Real bad.
Real bad.
Obviously, the dark circles, we have theorized on this ad nauseum in previous episodes, have to do with his power and with Shavaria, and she's draining him. Something is draining him.
Yep.
It's all connected.
It is
for
absolutely
sure
connected.
And I have to wonder, because they make a mention of Auri's face being just as drawn as her brother's. So I wonder if Rish has stepped up at this point to try to amplify Kashek's power. Because I assume Auri is also awake all night long, kind of watching over Kashek. And so if Kashek is going to his limits, and they do talk about him stretching himself to his limits, I have to wonder if Rish is trying to help him at this point too. And that's why everybody's tired.
Everybody's tired. They are doing some
sleeping except
serious
Shavaria.
stuff. Yeah. She's like, orgasm.
lucky girl.
Tea. And they're all
Getting annoyed when
fighting
people
monsters.
knock on her door and wake her up.
That's so funny. Right. Could you imagine?
Wait, that's
could
really
you
funny.
imagine being Kashek and Auri and Rish doing whatever the heck it is
And
they're
Xavian,
doing? And
wherever he
Xavian,
is.
and she's like, oh, God, do you have to knock on my door and
knocking.
wake me up? I'd be like, bitch. Are you joking? You don't even
Wait,
know.
that's actually really funny to think about.
like them making eyes and like Ari having to like elbow them, like, shut up, like, don't, like, you don't even know.
Ari has an interesting quote about being Fane and their perceptions of their own immortality. She says, quote, being difficult to kill does have a tendency to skew your idea of what you consider dangerous. Centuries go by and it's easy to begin testing mortality. Millennia pass and you may begin to believe you are truly immortal. And then something happens to remind you that somewhere unseen is a tiny thread, an invisible line woven by the fates that marks the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Fates.
Fates, okay, the word fates for sure. And this is kind of the moment where we start to see the words fates more and more and more and more towards the end of the book. But I think that for Auri in this moment, because she's about to tell Shivarya in a couple of chapters that she hasn't realized that she's really been blaming all of this on Shivarya.
Yeah.
And so I think this is kind of the beginning of her realizing that, like, that this invisible, unseen, tiny thread is Shivarya, and that it is starting to mark the end for Auri's mate, Kashek.
Yeah, I guess if he continues to go as he's going and overexerting himself, kind of blowing himself out at this point, using all of his power. And to Vari's credit, she does ask about Kashek. For whatever reasons, they're still not conveying what is going on, what he's doing. And I think we talked last episode that we kind of feel that this is more of a Xavian thing holding them back. I think it's later in this episode we talk about how even Auri breaks down and screams at Xavian,
oh, yeah.
tell her.
Yeah.
So I think whatever the reason for them not telling her, which could be Xavian's perception that she's just not ready to hear it, he's like holding them in check. So even though she asks, they're still not revealing stuff.
Because maybe they can't because it's his secret to tell. And
yeah,
they're
exactly.
oath-bound.
That's what. And also, even if it's not his secret, he is the king. They're listening to what their king is telling them to do.
It's later.
Okay, just want to make sure I knew where we were. Well, Rhea asks Vari if the man who trained her was a Drakai. She says, quote, but you aren't just Latarian. You belong to the general. She says quizzically.
Yeah, because Rhea has heard Xavian call her Miajna.
Yep.
So this is a kind of a moment, again, we start to see Shivarya in this set of chapters really like starting to question where her loyalties are. Yeah. And she's still thinking like, but I'm Latarian, I'm a Drakai. Are they going to trust me? And so this is kind of her response to that is that you aren't just Latarian. That's not why we're training in the ring with you. It doesn't have anything to do with where your loyalties lie. It's because you belong to the general.
Right. You're important enough. And she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Which don't define me by who I belong
Quote,
to.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I cannot imagine that Vari is going to like that for very long.
Right. Yeah. She cut her off. She's like, I don't belong to him.
I belong to no man's.
I ain't belong to no man's. We do learn, too, in this chapter that Rhea's healing gift only works on bone, which is...
noted.
Yep, interesting. And then we get the scene where Vari experiences her first, like, friendship girl talk moment. Rhea teaches her how to pleasure a man. They kind of gab back and forth. She laughs with them. She tells them about their relationship. She says, quote, I have reconsidered him, and even though I tell myself it is all for duty, for my purpose, there is no denying my desire for myself and fulfillment of his own. And why shouldn't there be? It changes nothing. Excuse me? It changes everything, girl.
She's ready to admit desire for Xavian, but she's still repress any thoughts about emotional attachments beyond sex.
Yeah, because she's still in her mind is like, well, I'm still going to kill a king after all is said and done.
Yeah.
At this point, I think she still is planning to do that.
Her level of desire would probably like funnel so much money into a therapist. Like that could be her only client. They'd make so much money off of Shivarya.
Maybe there's going to be a palace therapist.
Could you imagine?
Kashek really is. Maybe Kashek is her
therapist.
All
in all veils. Okay, got it. Love it.
We also learn that Sisri and Ashara are sisters, or I guess Shavaria learns. We kind of already know from the scene
Right.
at their parents' house,
Yep.
but Shavaria learns that these snakes are sisters. Makes sense, right? And let's talk about the wording of this quote. She's the last Fane on the continent I'd trust with the king. I'm sure Zay feels the same. It is such a clever word choice
So clever.
because they are the same.
After they have this girl talk, Adora comes in for their final dress fitting for the masquerade ball. And we find out that another Latari ship has been found off the coast. Rish mentions that Zay is busy and he's in strategy meetings, as a king would do, but also like a general would do. To be fair, a general in the king's army would also be in strategy meetings, but he's also the king.
If we haven't convinced you he's the king,
We've already
all
said
this
that.
shit is
Keep
going
listening.
down. All this shit is going down. Where else would a king be? Like, what
Right.
on earth in the world could that be more important to keep a king away from?
Because he's
Aphrodite
back.
right now?
According to Zay, he's
because
back.
he's back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he would be there too. So the ship is there, but no one has seen the ship again since it was first sighted, which is a problem.
Yeah, and Vari's talking to Rish, and she asks, what do the Latari say? And I love Rish's reply to her. He says, their king claims no knowledge of the vessel. Their king, not your king.
Mm-hmm.
So even with whatever it is that Rish knows about Vari, her demon dreams, whatever it is they suspect Vari is or has had to happen to her, whatever, they're still clearly starting to consider her one of them.
Yes.
By him saying their king, not your king. You're one of us now. One of us. One of us.
One of us. They at least don't consider her one of them. At the very least, she's neutral, but I completely agree.
It also means that they are in contact with the Latari king.
Yes.
Yep.
Which
What's
is
his
interesting.
name? Tell us his name real quick.
But also, who else would be in contact with a Latari king? Maybe an Acharai king?
The Acharai king.
Maybe, yeah.
We are not going to let this go, people.
But
we told you we'd die on the hill.
Do they have cell phones?
I know, right? Owl by owl? What is the otter? What is the thing? How do you deliver the mail? Oh, you haven't read that,
Crescent City.
Crescent City. Yeah.
The otters delivered the mail.
And
Maybe
they were
a sly
cute little
fox
things.
did it for them?
Ooh, a little fox. Well, that's a good one. We're talking about Phileas for anyone who is not
We're talking about Phileas, yes. We're talking about Phileas, right?
I just so anyone's clear. All right. Well, all this is happening. Shivari is in Xavian's room, and a man sneaks in the room and attacks her. He is Latari and Jakai. And so she kills him.
Yes. But let's break this down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If this Drakai is in the general's room, then clearly he is there to kill Xavian. So, is he there to kill Xavian the general or Xavian the king? Because I assumed it was the latter. But...
Agreed.
But Vari wasn't told the identity of the Acharai king. So we have to assume most Drakai, just general Drakai, do not know the true identity of the Acharai king. So if that's true, we later learned out there are certain Drakai working with the Vatruk. So I believe it is not Latari that sent this Drakai to kill Xavian the king. I think it is the Vatruk that sent this Drakai that is working with the Vatruk to kill Xavian, because the Vatruk have found out Xavian is the king. And
But you don't think that those are the same? Like the Latari?
No, I think the Latari have obviously Drakai, right? Drakai belong to the Latari. I think the Vatruk still have Drakai directly working for them, as in no in between with that Latari king. So I guess what I'm saying is I do not believe this Drakai was sent here because the Latari king sent him. I think the senders were the Vatruk, because think about it. We know the Vatruk have landed. later in this episode, we're going to talk about those 4 Vatruk along with that, or those 4 Jakai with that Vatruk, right? So I think it was the Vatruk that sent this Drakai to kill Xavian. And if any of this Acherai crew makes this connection, it doesn't happen on page. We don't, as a reader, know that they have realized that actually this Drakai was sent by the Vatruk. Knowing that we see later Drakai working directly with the Vatruk, and the Vatruk have said the king's identity, he thinks he's hidden it, but he hasn't. I have to assume the Vatruk sent this Drakai after Xavian because they know Xavian is the king.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the Latari and the Latari are working for the Vatruk.
Yeah.
So it is kind of all connected. I don't know if it matters who gives the final order to take this hit out, but they're all working ultimately for the same goal, right?
I don't know if they're working for the same goal. I think the Latari are being very much controlled and manipulated by the Vatruk. I feel like the Vatruk are holding the cards here.
For sure, but that doesn't mean that they're not all working for the same goal. You know what I mean? I feel like it's really splitting hairs. I don't think that it really I
guess with my theories of what I think about the future, I don't think it's splitting hairs. I truly think what the Vatruk are ultimately trying to do is not at all what the Latari want or need.
Oh, agreed. Agreed. The Latari are being manipulated for sure. Yeah.
So her reaction is astronomical. So we have a great quote: "As if in answer to the furnace of rage swelling inside me, terror itself begins to shudder beneath my feet. It's too easy to disarm the man when he's distracted by the growing tremor of the land. Time seems to slow and I grin, pleased with the shock overwhelming his features." And I think this is the very first taste we get of Shivaria's true power. And we're going to talk about later in this episode what Shivaria is. We are going to learn all about the Valtura and the Valtura's connection to Shivay. And I think this was our first little taste of her true power.
Yeah,
and
the extent of it.
I don't know. I love how even if Vari will not acknowledge that Xavian is her mate, right? She still subconsciously is, because she gives us this great line that she's saying to this Drakai right before she ends his life. "Threaten what is mine, and I will hunt your very soul beyond the gates of Hellel." And I love that quote so much. So
such a good one.
She still claimed him as mine.
She claimed him.
Yeah.
He is mine.
Yeah, throughout this whole scene, to your point, her whole reaction to it is that he's mine and I'm finally starting to make that decision. That I'm not just here to kill the king, and how do I this is really really starts a turning point for her, of she's finally admitting to her feelings to him and that her loyalties are starting to shift.
Yeah, because she even says, "I killed one of my own people for him, for the male beside me. I can lie and say it was for my own honor. Given the circumstances, no one would believe otherwise, but I know the truth."
Yeah. I did find interesting that she does get so shaken up by killing him. She is a trained assassin. She is a badass fighter.
She's never killed somebody
we assume
before.
Do we know that?
No. Yeah, she has
never.
The first person I've ever killed. She's having this reaction because she's killed somebody for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty strong, right? You're this trained assassin, trained badass,
and you still haven't 24 killed anybody.
It's a good thing the king wasn't your first kill, potentially, imagine? Because you might have mucked that up.
Right. Well, she did say at the beginning of this whole book, she is like, "I know the king will be my first kill." She knew going into this, he was supposed to be her full kill. But I think it also brings a humanality to her here, because it's you can be an assassin and trained to kill, but until you actually kill and take a life, you won't know how you're going to experience that. And she does have a very, very strong reaction, right? And I feel like this was great, the way that Xavier kind of takes care of her, like through all of this thing. Like she doesn't know what she needs. She's like trying to scrub her skin raw.
Yeah.
And he's there for her, and he gives her what she needs without even knowing what that is herself.
Yep.
And then Zaven receives some intelligence of where the rest of the Latari are hiding. And Shivaria says that she wants to go with him, but he says no. And she only agrees to agreeing with him because she realizes that she has to keep up the ruse, right? She's like, oh, a lady wouldn't say, I want to go get the bad guys and I have to pretend like I'm a lady.
Right.
But she is worried that he may be walking into a trap because she knows the Drakai well enough that she feels like the Drakai coming to kill him and the ships being there, that she's worried that he is walking right into something. But she can't tell him that because it would give her identity away. How would you know what the Drakai do?
Right. Well, to keep her safe, he does give her, surprise, it's like the favorite gift that she gets, 2 black daggers. This time, these are Fane Stone daggers. Yeah. Fane Stone is a very rare stone. Quote, the stone blades pull at the light in the room like they will draw the very flame inside and snuff us into darkness.
That's so cool.
Love it.
Lindsey, who would have access to something rare?
The king.
Oh, the king.
Yeah.
The king. And who would have access to Fane Stone? A king.
And then later when Rhea sees her kill the second guy,
she's like,
where does she say there is only Fane Stone? Ha.
In the possession of the crown.
Ha, 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 ha. There you go.
And,
there you go.
And who's the king, Lindsey?
Xavier.
There it is.
Ta-da!
Wait, I have a crown. Look at my gold crown fingers.
Put your crown on. Put your orange crown.
There you go.
Oh,
and in case any...
Ta-da!
There you go.
That's real cute.
Wear that the rest of the episode.
Yes.
Just get my Tig crown. That's
and
funny.
In case any of the readers are wondering about these daggers versus Vikesh's daggers, these are different daggers. These are made of Fane Stone. Vikesh's daggers that he had given Shivaria earlier on were made of obsidian. So black daggers, but different materials. And we later find out Fane Stone like instantly kills Fane. And Xavier gave her something that can instantly kill any Fane.
That's trust right there.
Like something you would give your mate.
Like something you would give your mate who you trusted beyond a shadow of a doubt. Which is wild to me because I have theories later, but we'll keep going. Okay, we'll keep going. Whew.
Xavier is gone for 2 days, and he tells her, when I return, Miajna, I will give you everything.
Does that just mean his dick?
And answers. I'm hoping it's dick and answers. All of those.
Put that on a t-shirt.
She needs both.
She needs both.
She needs
like he only gives
dick.
the dick.
And then she also needs
answers. Yeah, both of those, please.
And also the crown.
I'll take both, please.
And the power and more information. I'll take both. I'll take them to go, please. Oh, God.
And then we get a big scene here. Auri tells Shivaria that she doesn't like the idea of him going wherever he's going without part of his gift. That Naya has asked for a small part of his power in exchange for your life. And Vari is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? She is, what do you mean he gave up part of his gift or part of his power to save me? And she's determined that she's going to get it back. They go to sleep. She realizes she can't do it yet. Auri sleeps in the same room with Shavarian while Xavier is away. Auri implies Kashek is with Xavier and away from the palace. Vari doesn't take any tea and is pulled into the dark abyss of her dreams. So again, we ask, what did Auri witness that night while Vari dreamed?
Yep.
Question mark, we don't know. Vari is awakened the next morning by the sprites. And it's funny because she's like, I knew that wasn't Tig because Tig would never wake me up like that. It had to be Eon. And Eon's like poking her in the side with a bony finger.
Funny. She's like,
Yep.
And she says, sprites, go meet me in the forest. We've got work to do. She tells Rhea and Auri, her Fane companions, mount up. We're all going to the forest.
Let's go. We're going on an adventure.
Let's go. We're going on an adventure. They go to the forest and Tig kind of pulls her into the bushes and says, we don't need to make a trade. Let's take the old blood. So obviously she thinks that Naya will give the gift back once she learns who Vari is. And the quote specifically is take the old blood.
Auri will not let her out of her sight. She's like, nuh-uh.
Nope.
You're not going off on your own. Zabian would murder me. And Rhea is like, I'm not getting involved in all this shit. What's going on? But they follow Vari. They see this entire exchange. They see Tig and Eon beating up poor Naya. And Auri is just pissed.
They beat the crap out of her.
They beat the crap out of the poor Naya.
Which I love. I'm like, these cutesy little sprites.
They're like wailing on her.
They mean business. Well, let me tell you, I think this is the third time I've said this in this series, but when this book is made into a movie series or an HBO series, I can't wait to see this scene too. The sprites wailing on the Naiad.
So I kind of want to lean into this moment because I think that it's really important for the overall context of who Shavaria is for the rest of this series. Okay. Yep. So Naya looks at her and says, forgive me, I did not know. And she is referring to, I did not know that you were the old blood. And so I'm really sorry for almost drowning you. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry for taking your
no idea who she was.
But this really, really quick supplication to Shavaria shows how important she really is. Like, it means that the Fae are all aware of what Thehania is.
Yep.
And they are willing to accept very quickly that it's Shavaria for no other reason than Tig and Eon told her.
Right.
Tig said so. So
it must be true.
Is it that Tig and Eon are that important? Or is it like, what is the quote unquote prophecy about Thehania coming?
Right.
The Naiad is so quick to accept that she came and that it is this person in front of me. Yep. Can she feel her power? Like I feel like there's something working in the background that we're not quite sure of yet, but this so sudden deference to her is so important.
And let's remember too that we have not seen Tig and Eon have true power yet, have we?
Yeah, we
like
have.
They can do little things.
Roots through Sai's feet.
They stuff. Okay, so do we really? Do we think that's it? Is my point. Do we really think that's what?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So I feel like they are going to start to show more and more of what their powers are. I do not think that they are beings that are going to be able to use roots to hurt people. Like that is powerful, but
it's going to be bigger.
It's going to be bigger. And so I'm also wondering, could they, for example, somehow show Naya this is who she is? Why are they immediately trusted by her? What can they do?
Maybe it's not about power because they had told Felius that they were waiting for her, basically, that the second Shavaria came. So maybe they are the keepers of the royal line sort of situation. Like we've seen that storyline play out. So maybe it's something to that. Maybe it's not about them, but maybe it's just about the fact that they recognized who she is and are there to protect her because of their family, potentially.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
it could be.
They are. And
I agree with you that they are very powerful and that we have not seen part of it.
Yeah.
But I also think that there might be something to them being almost like the protectors or keeper of
her or the crown
power.
Or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I could be convinced.
Naya does try to explain why she did what she did. She
Yep.
says, my spring was dying. I needed the strength of his gift to make it strong again. And so I think it's very interesting, the wording here of
Yes.
his gift, the strength of it, because it's Xavier's gift, right? Naya is talking about here.
No, the strength of his gift. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
doesn't matter what his
that
gift
I'm
is.
not
wording
done.
is very
Yes,
specific.
I know. So I totally agree with you there. But I think it's also important of why her spring is dying and how the strength of his gift is enough to shore it up, right? Because we know Tear is dying, right? This is another example of it. Latari crops are dying. Naya's spring is dying. So that's related to Tear is dying. So Xavier's gift, whatever it actually is, the strength of it, and remember we learn later on that the strength of somebody's connection to Shivay determines like the strength of their gift. So imagine how close his bond to Shivay is, how powerful his gift truly is, that if Tear is dying, a small piece of it can help shore up this spring. Like, I think it goes to show you how immensely whatever it is Xavier can do, how immensely powerful he is.
I think it also goes back to, I don't remember, it was the last episode or the episode before that we talked about he is mated to Shivaria, who is the Valtura, even if they don't know it at this point. But the closer you are to Shivay, the more powerful your power is, or the most powerful your gift is. So the fact that he is mated to Shivaria, the Valtura, obviously, like, I think that he is getting a lot of his power from
Through that bond.
her
Yes.
too, and through their mating bond.
I completely agree. Actually, that's like what because I was like, oh, well, if he has the power, if Tara's dying and Shivay is the power of all life and he is bonded to her, that's where he, I think, I agree. I'm saying what you say because I completely agree.
I still
yes.
think
And
he's
it's not-
powerful himself.
Oh, yeah.
Not
It's
just
not to-
because
Oh,
of
he
Shivaria.
is. He
Right.
is.
We're not taking away from his power.
Yeah.
He is the king
But
after all.
if they've been fated this whole
Yes.
time, I think they're both that powerful. Like, I actually think it says more about her that we don't know, that like he is so powerful. And I think it's because they are bonded that we're going to start to see, oh, bitch, you think he's powerful? You are just as powerful. And then some, because it's actually you that is like the main one. Like,
And imagine-
the more powerful.
And imagine she is not going to accept that.
Oh, of course
She
not.
does not accept how beautiful she is or how anything she is. So
that she's important.
as soon as she learns that she has power, it's going to be tough for her to accept how powerful she truly is. So Naya says, I can feel that which you've already given in part, a piece of the binding. Grant me a small piece as well. That is what I will exchange for the gift you seek. So this is referring to her bargain with Bhagya. Grant me a piece of the lie that binds you. So Naya wants another piece of that.
It's so crazy to me how she knows.
Oh,
How she could sense or know. I can sense the small piece that you've already given. How?
Is it a Fae thing? Because I wonder if Tig and Eon also sense it. Like, is it, what can they feel?
And the wording, she says later, I've already made the bargain once and it hadn't done a thing to me.
Sure.
Okay, that is hella ominous.
Come on.
And hella foreshadowing. Like, what is it doing to her that she is completely unaware of? Because now
Demon dreams.
now two have taken a piece of that. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't feel this. This doesn't matter. Okay.
Girl.
It's going to come back and bite you in the ass later.
And I also have to wonder, how does Naya getting one more piece of the lie, a more of the unraveling, how that helps Naya in this instance? And maybe it's simply just because if she is the Valtura and if her power is released, somehow that can help with the fact that Tara is dying. But it's kind of left open as to, like, I understand using a phase power to Shivay to help your spring.
Yep.
And maybe that's the answer, is the Valtura is the closest thing to Shivay. So unbinding that power and letting it release is somehow helping her spring. But the mechanics of it are a little screwy in my brain still.
Yeah.
TBD. TBD.
Agreed.
Well, we get a quote. The Naiad offers me her hand, and when I take it, darkness blooms between our palms, pulling at the light in the small clearing. It grows, twisting into a vortex that draws winds from afar, and darkens the sky. And then nothing. Nothing but the familiar feeling of the demon inside me. Only it's more, and it feels like home.
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 When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I want to take you there in the midnight hour. Sorry.
We did it.
We did it. Lindsey, high five. Nice. So this is a huge moment. The demon is feeling familiar to her. It feels like home. Okay, there is all this imagery of the twisting dark and the vortex and the wind. It is just like, wait a second. So this all happens when she makes the bargain with Naya. And Naya tells her, all you have to do, basically, is touch Xavian, skin-on-skin contact, and his power will transfer back into him. And she also says, anything for the Hena Vathai, the old blood of the Fae. If you have not realized that you are important, that you are something more, that you are a big shit, as my nonna would say. You're a big shit.
You're a big shit.
You are the biggest shit.
The biggest
shit.
She is the shit. Oh yeah. She used to tell people, oh, he thinks he's a big shit. So you are a big shit. Okay? This is the moment. Old blood of the Fae. I'll do anything for you, Naya. Mm-hmm. Come on.
And she does want to ask her like more. She knows what the Hana means. She knows it means the old blood of the Fae, but she wants to know it from a titular perspective, what that truly means. But she can't because Auri and Rhea are present. And I love that she doesn't ask here because it shows her protectiveness of the sprite still and the secrets of the Fae. So I don't actually fault her here for not doing it. But I do think it's important to note that Rhea is like, what's that mean?
What is this?
So the Fane do not know that title. And we later hear Felius use the title. He knows what it means. But Fane in general, they don't know that. But it makes sense because Fane don't speak the Fae language.
Or is it just Rhea? Like, I could see Auri potentially knowing what that means because Auri has had a lot of dealings with the Fae.
That's true.
And so is there a possibility that she's picked up on their language over the years? Because we don't see Auri's reaction to that. We only see Rhea's.
No. The only thing I'm going to say is because of a later information we get from Narai next episode of saying how Muri was the only Fane she knew that the Fae had ever bestowed the honor of learning the Fae language.
True.
Yeah.
So I have to assume this is just to point out the Fane don't know what it means because the Fane don't know the Fae
and how
language.
Special Shivaria is that before her it was only Muri.
She does know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's not that they don't know, it's that the Fae won't trust them with it. Yeah. You know? So.
And it really shows the distinctions between the Fae and the Fane, though, doesn't it? Like, the Fae are truly, I mean, they're not going to be on the side of the Fane. Like, they truly are, species-wise, very distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next scene, I want to show everyone my shirt.
Yes!
That I got from Fedora Marine.
Yes!
Okay. It says...
Oh, I love that.
Tig,
oh, gosh. Her hair.
Tig and Eon's styling studio. I wish I had it in our last episode when we recorded the scene. And then it says, suspicious whispers and shenanigans included.
Oh my God, it's
I
so
love
cute.
that so much.
It is so cute.
So cute.
She has the
It's so
best
cute.
merch. So
It's so cute.
this is
Oh my
literally
God.
not an ad, but we just love it. But if
This
you
is
have
literally not an
if you
ad.
have not checked it out, Redora Marie is the account that we're doing a giveaway actually with her. It'll be in this episode either at the beginning or the end at some point. And she is officially licensed for a few different books, and Child of Shivay is one of them. And she has such cute stuff.
So cute.
I am actually between that in the sweatshirt form, and she has a really good one that's Strike the Bargain, and it's the dagger with the snake around it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know which one I want. It's really cute.
I went for this one and I couldn't be happier. It's so good.
So you.
So in honor of Tig and Eon jumping on Naya and punching the crap out of her face.
There you go.
I'm rocking.
Just make sure.
I'm rocking their shirt.
Don't wear your hair like that unless you're looking for
a
mate.
lover.
That's true.
I'm gonna tell on you. I'm gonna tell on you.
Be careful.
I am not wearing it, but I am. Hey, but I am branded. Banter and bookmarks. Ta-da,
Let's
ta-da.
go.
I got Harry Potter.
Perfect.
That's perfect. Our three favorite
we've got
things.
all our bases covered. You may continue. Sorry, I just had to show off my awesome shirt.
It was.
I will allow it. I will allow it.
Yes.
All right. So all this goes down, and they head back to the palace, and Auri is still pissed with Shivaria.
Yeah.
It has not ended.
Are no fun. She don't like them.
She does not like it.
Okay, so let's talk about Vari's dream. Okay, so Auri is giving her the silent treatment. Vari falls asleep and experiences a horrible dream, waking up and heaving bile off the side of the bed. So Auri's away. She's taking a shower in the other room. She doesn't witness the dream itself. And quote, "It's the worst my dreams have been since the day I recall having my first, the day I met Bagia in the woods. I can still taste the droplets of blood in my mouth, still feel the heat of the woman's last breath on my cheek, the press of the demon as it coiled around me." So clearly, this escalation is all a result of her second bargain with Naya, giving up another piece of the lie that binds her. Now, presumably, Kashek is not nearby yet. Like, I'm still not sure if Kashek is hidden in the palace while Auri stays with Vari, or if he truly is away with Xavian at this point. But we're led to believe it is at least on page the latter, right? With Kashek returning later. So Vari tries to stand up and she collapses. Her nose is bleeding. Tig is there. So these dreams have escalated even with Tig being in her presence. So it's like, if there was anything to our theory, thinking maybe the sprites helped to like dampen the demon or whatever, it's not enough now. If that was true, it's not enough now. So,
or Tig like apparates. Like, maybe she wasn't with her when she was dreaming, and she like felt her in distress and like apparated in.
Ooh, that would be cool. More
which
Tig power.
It would not destroy. Yeah, it would not destroy the previous theory.
Yeah. And I think in the last chapter she did mention having a port key or some flu powder, so that could be it.
I mean, that's totally it. They've got a fireplace, so absolutely flu powder.
That is a good theory. Like, because she can get places really quickly. She can move in and out of places unseen.
Move on the wind.
I wouldn't be shocked if she could do that.
Yeah, I think she says at some point that she, and it might be around here, that Shivaria is like, oh, I've never really thought about how they might be watching me when I don't realize it. So maybe that is what's happening, or something like that's happening, is that they can like feel her distress and come to her aid.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
But she sends Tig away. She doesn't want Auri to walk in and catch Tig. Still very protective of the sisters. Auri rocks in, sees her literally on the floor. She calms down. She's like, okay, I'm mad at you, but I'm going to still call Caden and get you a healer in here. But there's nothing for Caden to heal. And in his presence, Vari mentions Xavian's gift, and Caden's eyes widen. And he misinterprets what she says. He says, like, Xavian used his gift on you. And they clarify, no, she's just holding a piece of his gift. But you got to wonder, does Caden know what Xavion's power is?
Oh,
Yes.
for
Does
sure.
Caden know
Yes.
that maybe he's the king?
Yes.
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 Both
And yes.
of those things.
Yes.
Yes. And yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I actually, in reading these chapters, a couple of times highlighted things and wrote in the margins, what does Caden know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are multiple things that he does that I'm like, this is getting curiouser and curiouser.
Well, and plus his healing of Kashek, or like trying to help Kashek. Caden, I think, knows everything.
I feel like he would
He
have
knows as
to.
much as Auri and
Yes.
Kashek
Yeah.
and Rish know, and Xavier knows for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And Caden says, well, there's nothing to heal. And he speculates at this point, it's possible her mortal body isn't meant to hold onto Fane power. And maybe that's what it is. Vari falls asleep again. But then she and Auri are awoken to the sounds of a shriek in the hallway. So Shivaria rushes to the hallway, followed by Auri. And this is where I feel like Kashek must have just returned with Xavian and used his power, whatever it is he's doing, on Vari while she was sleeping, because he doesn't realize, Vari has gotten worse since the Naya took another piece of the lie. And so I think that it's like, because Vari's power has been even more unbound, that must have been what overwhelmed Kashek in this moment. Like, he didn't know any of this was going on. He's come back. He's going to continue to do what he's going to do with Vari, not knowing all of this stuff has just happened. And it absolutely overwhelms him. And I assume that's why he collapsed here.
Yeah.
Like, that's my interpretation of what's going on.
Yeah.
Auri rushes to this scene. She is cradling him. She is pleading, no, not yet. She is distraught. She's probably thinking that this is the end for Kashek. And
Not yet.
Not yet. Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, don't die yet. Don't give up yet.
Yep.
Like, she doesn't, like, that not yet is like very simple, but I feel like she really feels like his time is coming soon.
Yes.
Like,
it also gives me the sense that they've mentioned fates before, right? And I am wondering, do they have any inkling about what will be the end for them? Do they know what their fate is in any way? Because I wonder if that's part of why Auri is upset with Shivaria, is that she knows that this is the beginning of the end and that this is like all coming together and that they're doing these things for fate. But she's like, no, not yet. Like, I thought I had more time. And so I know that that's a little bit of a stretch, but part of me wonders if they do know that Shivaria is the beginning of the end. But I will point out here too, they don't know what Shivaria really
they
is.
definitely don't know.
So it is
for sure.
They know that she's big. They know that these things are meant to happen, but they still at this point don't know why. And Auri shoots dagger eyes at Vari when Vari asks what's wrong with him. And she's just like,
Back off.
don't you even. Caden lays hands on him and he heals him.
And Auri, be okay.
He's going to be okay. It passes, but it was a very scary moment here for a bit. And Auri tells Vari to go back to bed. Auri runs down the hallway and throws open the door and starts shouting. First of all, okay, Xavier is home, apparently.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Right?
Right?
Why did nobody mention this?
But he's back. He's back. And she is shouting at him and she says, I will not continue to risk my mate for this. Tell her or send her away. And Rish agrees with her.
Tell her what?
Tell her what? And Rish agrees with Auri and says she's strong. She's stronger than you give her credit for. She can take it, and you can't protect her from this forever. What? From what? But all we hear the general say is she's not ready.
Ready for what?
Oh,
Because,
my God.
we know in this moment that they don't know that she's the Valtura,
Right.
but
Yeah.
clearly they know
They know.
something.
They know
What do they
something.
So
know?
what is it in this point that they know?
Yep.
Like, is it just that her dreams are affecting them, but that in turn is affecting Kashek?
Right. What is it?
You guys
What
all
is it?
agree that right now you can start to get annoyed along with me that they want to tell her and that this shouldn't be something that is continuously kept from Shavaria, and clearly it's Xavian the one keeping this information from Shavaria.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this is the point where it's like, I don't give a shit if she's not asking. She clearly doesn't remember demon dreams except for this last big one she had. Just fucking tell her already. Tell her.
Yeah.
I get that. I feel like in my first read, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I feel like I wasn't as mad at it because I feel like there's a point where it's like, no, you're right. I wasn't ready and I wouldn't have believed all these things. And so I struggle with this because as much as I'm like, you need to tell her, I would want to know these things. I struggle with whether or not I believe that she actually is ready. And if he is right, that whatever it is that they need to tell her, that she would accept the way that
She
they
wouldn't
would need her
believe it.
to and believe
Yeah.
it. And so I am mad. And part of me is like, am I mad? But this is actually what is the right thing to do. And I still struggle with that.
I mean, because Xavian clearly agrees with you, Kelly, because he says she's not ready. I mean, and our counters, she's like, ready or not, she's weak in her ignorance. And if you choose to keep her here, that affects us all. So,
Right.
But I feel like this finally kind of convinces us that, like, they want to tell Shavaria. At this point, Auri wants to tell Shavaria. Rish wants to tell Shavaria. It is Xavian keeping them, the king, from doing it. And they're not going to go against Xavian, the king, because he is the all-powerful king.
The old
I love that
king.
at this moment, the king thing doesn't matter really at all, but we're still throwing it out there.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
we're going to still throw it out there.
Right.
We want everyone to be just as convinced.
Right. And my thing is that, Kelly, kind of going off of what you were saying, like, my haunches go up because I'm like, well, who are you to decide that I'm not ready yet? Like, that should be Shavaria's decision.
Right. Her
But
choice.
Auri goes on and she says, you still can't access her. And Xavian answers, a little more every day, but it has nothing to do with the strength of my gift. It's her changing, trusting. So he does have a reason why he truly knows and thinks that she is not ready yet. And it's because he can feel something there.
Yeah.
He can't access something in her. And it has nothing to do with the strength of my gift. Again, what is the gift here that you're talking about? I would almost assume that this could be rewritten as it has nothing to do with the strength of our bond. But no, that's not what it says. It says my gift.
Yeah.
So he does have a reason. He's not just holding it back. It's not that he's trying to manhandle her.
Right.
It's that he legitimately has a reason why he knows that she's not ready yet because he can't access her.
One thing he doesn't give Vari credit for is the fact that she's been dealing with the demon since she was 18, right? So it's like, if he had said anything to her, she would have been like, oh, you know about my demon? I've been wondering about my demon since I was 18 years old. So I think one thing, she might not be ready for the truth of what she is, but to say she's not totally getting there, I mean, when she's been dealing with this demon for so long, like, I feel that's a little bit of their lack of trust in each other kind of rearing its head here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that
because they don't talk about anything.
because they don't talk about
They don't talk about anything. No.
They have
no.
lovely, sexy times and no conversations.
No.
Yep.
No. Not the important conversations, really. I will say, though, we have read a lot of fantasy and romantasy books. And a lot of times when we deep dive something and we've read a book 3, 4, 5, 6 times, we start to figure things out. Things like what a power could be. When I tell you truly in this moment on the 29th of October of 2025 at 9:31 p.m., I have not even an inkling of what this man's power could be. I know it's big. I know it's
he's a Reaper.
powerful.
Because we know what that means.
The fuck that means. I am so right. Like
Maybe.
it is genius to me that I have no clue.
Genius bullshit.
And genius bullshit. I have no clue. I love that I have no clue, but fuck you, JR Cathers.
We love you, Jess. That was a fuck you, but we
I
love you.
Fuck you,
But
but we
fuck
love
you.
you.
Okay?
I feel like
You biggest sheet.
because Naya said she needed his gift to shore up, like the strength. I have to believe his gift has something to do with his connection to Shivay. Like, it's not going to be something like I can change my face. I can heal something. I feel like if it's as strong as that,
it's a biggest shit.
It's a biggest shit.
The biggest shit in this story is Shivay. So his gift has to do with something with Shivay. It has to. It just has to.
All of that to say, I think it is genius bullshit. Like you said, Lindsay, it's genius bullshit that we don't have any inkling.
But I also think that's pretty impressive. Like, you got it past us, JR Cathers. You got it past us.
It is insane. Lee good. Lee impressive. Anyway.
Our amazing Shivaria, the queen of overhearing conversations, does overhear a couple of things.
Yes.
We find out that Xavier has received a letter from a woman called Narai, who will be attending the mosque. And he says, we will wait until she arrives and see if your gifts combined will be strong enough for something. So Kashek is out of the picture. He's getting healed by Caden. He's resting. So Xavier is talking to Auri and Rish at this moment. Okay. So it was left a little bit open as to your gifts combined will be strong enough. I think who they're talking about here is Rish gift combined with Narai. And the reason I think that is simply because Rish is a Breck. Right? And Rish is the one that responds with something to the effect of, well, shouldn't Narai be strong enough on her own? So I think Xavier is talking to Rish amplifying whatever Narai's gift is, because honestly, what is the power of illusion going to help anything in this situation? And I feel like if Narai is a healer, which we find out she is, I feel like they want to Rish to amplify a healer's gift, not a glamour.
You can definitely make the argument the other way, though, that it's Auri, because the general Auri speaks and then he responds with that. So Auri says a quote, if you choose to keep her here, that affects us all. And then
responds to
directly after that, Xavier responds. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no in there where he says, my response to her, or I'm looking at Auri. Like, so you could make the argument, again, I think that it is tricky, JR Cathers semantics, where we are left to guess who it is, but you could contextually make the argument of either argument.
Or both. Your gifts, collective, all of your gifts. Like, what the heck could they do together, potentially?
Oh, I did have one question. So going back to our discussion on what the fuck they think Shivaria is at this point, right? They say something in a later chapter. We feel very confident they don't think she's the Valtura at this point, right? But there's something they say in a much later chapter, maybe it's like 38 or something, about unbinding, right? So with that future context in mind, I have to wonder if at this point they think that she's some Fane that had her power bound. Right? Because if they don't think she's the Valtura, Rish obviously can sense her power, right? Multiple Fane have been able to sense there's some power here. So I have to wonder if what they believe she is some Fane that has been bound by somebody very, very powerful, and that's what's going on. But I'm just, that's my theory as to what they think she could possibly be at this juncture.
Yeah.
They definitely think she's something.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's wild to me that they don't know what she is and who she is.
I kind of love it though. I feel like I would be disappointed if I found out that they knew this entire time who she really was and they were keeping it from her.
Agreed.
It almost makes their friendships more powerful that they aren't telling her because they really don't know themselves.
Don't know, right?
They're still trying to figure it out.
They might know things, but they don't know the thing. And so, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
It doesn't feel like a betrayal to you, Lindsey, basically.
No.
Like,
I like exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And what I like about this is that when Shivaria eventually finds out that Xavian is the king, because she will, Xavian is also going to find out that she is the Voltura. So it's not like one of them is keeping this big secret from the other one. They're both something different and something else and are keeping it from each other.
And
also
she doesn't know she's Voltura.
But they are going to find out big things about the other person, and I feel like that'll be interesting.
Keeping from him that she's a Drakai sent to kill him.
Absolutely, she sure is. She's not telling him that.
That's very
big
small beans at this point compared to being an all-powerful Voltura.
Especially because she didn't know it was him. She was just going to kill the king.
Could you imagine that argument? You never told me you were Drakai. You never told me you were the king. You never told me you were Voltura. I didn't know.
That's a Friends episode right there.
Exactly. Literally.
I don't know what I don't know. We know.
I don't know. We know you know.
Yes,
exactly.
Shivaria touches Xavian and gives him his power back. And then they have sex. Finally.
Yes.
And magically, no mentions of dreams that night.
Her demon
girlfriend had an orgasm, and her demon is at bay. Good for you.
Good job, Xavian. You did a good job that night.
You did a good job that night. The next day, Auri comes and finds Shivaria. It's time for them to have some friendship conversations, right? And Vari realizes that Auri blames her for what's happening to Kashek.
Yep.
She says, quote, "It was my fault somehow. She blamed me for what happened to him and told the general to send me away." So she doesn't really know why it's her fault, but she's starting to get an inkling that Auri feels that way.
Right.
Rhea tells Shivaria the king would never let anything happen to one of his own, not if there's something he could do to avoid it. And then Vari says, but the king isn't here to help. Well, what if he is?
But what if he is?
What if he is? And then Shivaria says, you know what, y'all? I'm in the mood to go start some shit. Let's go visit Sissery in the barracks.
What could go wrong?
Let me just go stir the pot a little bit.
Get a big old ladle.
Some shit up.
But it is a good thing because she realizes she's only seen the comfortable side of Acherai.
Yes.
And everyone tells her things are better in Acherai than in Latari. She doesn't like asking questions, so she's just going to go see it herself, you know?
And she does.
She sure does.
She's like, wait, this prison isn't awful. It's comfortable. And Torin's like, well, yeah, like we don't treat everyone like they're war criminals.
Right. Like this room is better than where I was. Like, oh.
Yeah.
There's still.
You have hot water? What's that?
Right. Torin is there, and he's heavily scarred from his past experiences with the Latari and her king. And he does point it out. He is pretty pointed and very specific. He's like, oh, so you want to talk about this? This is what your people do. And she's like,
I'm not getting into it with you, dude.
I'm not getting into this right now.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what he says.
Yep.
He doesn't want to let her in at first, but Rhea warns him, Fane, Liege, Ajna. Fane, Liege, Ajna. Liege. He's
Lord, the Fane,
Lord,
King's mate.
King.
Fane, King,
and
mate.
then he's like,
Ajna.
oh,
Ajna,
sorry.
Ajna.
You're right.
Yep.
Come on,
the
people.
Fane King's mate. In case any of that wasn't clear to anybody.
Her response to it is like, maybe I should learn their language. Yeah,
no shit.
Ish.
Huh?
No ish.
No hish.
Shivaria.
No hished.
And again, she's like, okay, this isn't too bad. But Shivaria meets with Sisri and tells her that she has come to end her sentence. In response, Sisri calls her Dora.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then this bitch starts to argue with her. Like, Shivaria literally goes down there and is like, hey, I'm going to end your sentence.
And she's a bitch.
This bitch is a bitch. Like, you're not going to be grateful. You're going to sit there and argue with her.
Yep.
It's insane to me.
Yep.
Say the quote.
Quote, Sisri bares her fangs at me, loosing a growl that raises the hair on my arms. Though I have no fear of the female, ice spirals down my spine as those embers burst into flame. This is not mere rage that flickers in her eyes, but true fire that ignites, licking across her irises. Every bare patch of her flesh is licked by a white, heated blaze that threatens to burn. She literally has fire magic. That is cool.
That's cool.
Extremely. Yep.
Right? Also note the fact that Shivaria felt ice on her spine. Again, we've talked about this in previous episodes. That is a sign that there is a Fane using power around her.
Yep.
So another sign right there. And then Torin puts out the flames with his actual ice powers, basically choking out that bitch.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
That's pretty cool. I guess that's why he was there to guard her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like they sent the ice guy to guard
the
fire
wench.
Girl. The fire bitch.
The fire wench.
The fire wench.
Okay, but this next passage. Okay, this is huge. There's a lot to unpack
Huge.
there. So big, so big, so big. So, quote, the female spits angrily, pointing a slender, why can I not say the word? Pointing a slender finger at me. She is nothing but a mistake. The fates don't make mistakes, Torin says. They made one when they bound that to my king. Torin, Rhea's voice comes out in warning. Leave justice to the king. You'll wish I ended you when he hears of this. Trust that he will have questions of his own about how exactly it is that you have come to know of the lady's bond to my liege. So, let's unpack that a bit.
So much there.
Everything.
So Sisri says they made one when they bound that to my king. Sisri knows that Shivaria is Xavian's mate. Xavian's, because she was there the very first time Xavian called in front of a bunch of people Shivaria his mate.
Yep.
But she doesn't say that here. Sisri does not say they bound that to Xavian. They say they bound that to my king.
Which is further interesting because in the dress shop, when she is talking to Ashara, or they're talking to Ashara, their sister, remember that there's that whole conversation about her saying the king versus my king.
Yep.
So like, who does Sisri really,
Right. Who's her loyalty
who's her
to?
allegiance
Yep.
to?
Her mother.
Because
absolutely, she was at that meeting with the.
But by saying my king is interesting, not just the king, but my king.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like there's some mirroring in the wording of the
That
same
is
scene with her
interesting between the
sister.
sisters,
That's
yeah.
interesting to point out.
I mean, she
Yes,
did
yep.
get called out to be like, oh, I'm sorry, who's king? And she like kneels
Exactly.
down. That whole
Yeah.
thing happened. So did she learn her lesson?
Unless
I don't know if she's a lesson
They're not
learner.
talking. Maybe they're not talking about the same thing. Maybe she's not talking about her mating bond. Maybe she's saying they made one when they bound that to my king, i.e., she's a Drakai that's serving the Latari king, and that's my king.
That's my king.
I'm gonna respectfully
I don't
think
know.
that's reading way too much into it at this point.
It potentially is.
Torrin himself says my king. So Torrin, we know, is talking about his own king.
Oh, Torrin for
Right,
sure.
but they might not know what each other is talking.
Yes.
Like they might be talking about two different
let's
things.
Keep going, okay?
Yes, keep going. Yep,
My theory still is she knows that Shivaria, though, and that's who she's pointing to, is bound to my king. So I hear you on that one, but let's keep going. So Rhea has just told Torrin that Shivaria is bound to the king, not Xavian, but she told Torrin specifically the king, right? Torrin then admits he knows Xavian is the king as well when he said the ladies bond to my liege, my king. All of this is reinforcing the fact that Shivaria is bound to Xavian, Xavian as the king. So much of this usage of Xavian versus the king in here, I think makes it clear that they are one and the same person, right? Like that is the whole thing that is going on right here.
Yeah, there's no reason why Vari would be called out to be connected, to be bound to the Fane king that she has never met, that they don't know that she's been sent to kill unless they are the same person.
Exactly. And I find it interesting that Torrin says that the king will want to know how Siseri came to be aware that Vari is bound to Xavian. Not because Torrin doesn't realize Xavian called her Miajna right in front of Siseri, but because Siseri made the connection. She made the leap that Xavian is the king, right? And everybody is trying to keep Xavian as the king a secret. But basically, Siseri has just admitted the fact, that's my interpretation at least of it,
that she knows both.
Siseri has admitted that she knows that Xavian is the king. And that's kind of, Torrin is now calling it out and saying, Xavian, our king, will want to know how you came to know about that information.
All the things.
That is not common information.
Yep.
Okay, let me just, for my own sake, connect some dots here.
Yes.
Okay, so you are saying that, because we know something is afoot with his identity.
Yes.
So you're saying that you don't think that Siseri and Ishara are supposed to know that something is afoot.
Correct.
But obviously they do because of the conversation that she overheard at their house saying that he thinks that he's fooling people that he really
but we
isn't.
know. Right.
So then the only people that truly know that he is both are the inner circle. So like, I think Rhea knows, I think Torrin knows, I think obviously Auri,
Rish,
Caden, Rish, Kashek. So that inner circle, but you don't think that this is like all
Wide
people
notice.
know that he is both.
No.
So it's like, okay, well then how did you figure that out is the question.
And Torrin will want to know how Siseri came to these conclusions.
Again, just like connecting a lot of pieces and a lot of dots here and putting them all of these thoughts in one bucket because it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to follow.
Exactly.
And we've been talking about it for literal months. And so I think that was a really helpful connection for listeners. Yeah. Good
I needed
summary.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, just so you know,
like one paragraph and you go insane on like, hold on, let me unpack what is being said here.
And just so you know, I was fully following you, Kath. So I am aligned. I agree. I read that the exact same way. I think it is a sneaky JR Cathers thing of, you know, that she's at least talking about, oh, how do you know that they're mates? But he's also saying, but also, how do you know that he's the king?
Also,
so I think
she let it because Siseri let it slip. And I think she's so angry in this moment. She doesn't mean to let all of this slip, but she does, right?
She's
and
pissed.
I really, really want to know what, if anything, Xavian did with this knowledge, because it proves Siseri knows he's the king. His disguise is not working.
Right.
Now why don't you look into how she knows this shit, dude?
Right. What's going to happen next?
Right. Like, why doesn't Torrin, if Torrin is in the inner circle, why isn't he bringing this information? And maybe he is, and
He probably is.
we just don't have time to see it.
Right, because
Yeah.
everything's going to happen real fast right now.
Big. Yeah.
I think it goes back to the fact that, once again, I know I've brought it up a million times, Xavier is completely underestimating the Vitruk, and he's overestimating his ability to stay hidden, his own power. And it is obviously extremely dire to the end of the book, right? Shivaria is taken, she is tortured, everything, like, they're separated, all of these things, because he just...
I can't wait to find out he's the king on page.
Oh my God.
I know, right? And then we're going to be like, oh, look at that. Already knew.
I literally, when I get my hands,
I
think
knew
that's
it.
what the moment
Yes.
is going to be of, like, I
knew
told
it.
myself and I was finally right about that.
Got it.
Okay.
I got it.
So I love this moment. Shivaria passes that bitch sentence off to Torin, and she's like, you know what? When I die, you can take over her sentence. And Torin's like, fuck yeah.
I feel like
Yes.
that's what makes him like her after this moment, because they go through
He's
the
in.
rest of the tour and he's so much nicer to her now. And it's because she gave him Sissy's sentence.
Yep. He knows more.
But again, her whole point of, like, going into the barracks, she doesn't only want to, like, stir shit up with Sissery, but she also is really starting to make the connections. Like, you know, she's really rocked by these revelations that, like, how prisoners are treated and how the soldiers are treated. And she's always told herself, well, this is what they can afford, and it's the Acherai King's fault that he's not giving the resources. But clearly that is really untrue. And not only is she being told that information, but she is actually physically seeing it for herself, I think for the first time, right?
Exactly.
Everything else is learned information.
Right.
This is where she actually sees it.
She has her own little moments, and she's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, because she's having her world view completely rocked. And I love this quote that we get here. She says, I try to make sense of the world I've only just begun to know, unable to make it fit with the story I've been told all my life about the Fane. I tell myself the reason that they treat their soldiers better is because they can afford to. I tell myself the reason the Latari prisoners often die of starvation is because we lack the resources to feed them. And all of this, I tell myself, is the fault of Acherai, of their king. But no matter how many times I repeat these lies, I cannot make myself believe them. She's finally going to the other side. This is like
she knows.
her glass shattering
she's
moment.
in. Yes. And so Rhea and Shivaria ride back to the palace. And as they are riding, there are 5 riders that approach them from the north, which is interesting because that is just where the Latari ships have been seen. And these riders are made up by 4 humans. There's 3 men and a woman, and a Fane. And this Fane is described, this is important to pay attention to, as a white-haired male with dark brown skin and deep blue eyes. So let's put a pin in that description here.
Brown skin is the pin, guys, because we're going to blow your ever-loving minds in about, I don't know, an hour. I'm going to guess an edited hour.
An edited hour. So white hair, dark brown skin, and deep blue eyes. We hear in this scene, Shivay Lethrek, which means may the light of all life greet you in the morning, and Shivay Thien, may the light of all life find you in the darkness. The 5 riders attack. And when I say that Vari shows who the F she is in this scene, it comes out. So Vari flicks her Fane Stone dagger directly into the eye of the Fane, who drops dead instantly, which she was not expecting. And why does he drop dead instantly? Because it is Fane Stone. Okay. So
also, I love that Rhea's like, stop throwing your weapon.
I know.
We need these here. There actually are like a lot of funny things here.
She has a point. She has a point.
Okay, maybe I should,
Okay, sorry.
not unarm myself.
Yes.
You're also welcome.
What can I say except... And so she kills the Fane. She kills 2 of the humans. Rhea kills the other 2. Vari gets her dagger back. She says, I pluck the blade from the flesh of the Fane's punctured socket, my eyes lingering on the odd serrated shell of the male's ear. Okay. Interesting. We find out later in this chapter that this male is a Vatruk. So Vatruk have these oddly shaped ears. Let's remember this. Rhea's like, wait a minute, where did you get these daggers from? And Vari's like, oh, they were a gift from the general. And this is where we find out that piece that we said before, that Rhea's like, oh yeah, I guessed that, because the only Fane stone left from the Sundering is in the storerooms of the Crown. Hello, because he's the king. That's how he got it. Okay. This whole thing is insane. Rhea again makes a comment about, I need to know who the hell Drakai trained you, because that's insane. Like, you did not just get trained by anybody. Rhea realizes when she looks at the Fane who he is, and is absolutely shook to her core.
Yeah.
We find out later that this Fane's name is Keswick. Before Vari can process any of the things that Rhea is saying, she literally tells her, listen, Vari, ride straight back to the castle. Do not look back. Do not wait. I will be right behind you. Go. And as that happens, they hear a blood-curdling shriek from the forest, from within the tree line, where another Fane is seeing what just happened and who just died. And they fucking gun it back to the castle.
Rhea gets to the palace and is completely out of breath. She says, Vatruk on the rise, halfway between the palace and the barracks. They are hiding with the Latari from the warship along the edge of the northern forest. So Rhea saw Vaz at the tree line, and Vari has killed her mate, Keswick.
Oopsie whoopsies.
Whoopsie.
Uh-oh.
And Voss is going to be out for blood now.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to make a note that Rhea knew both of the Vatruk by sight. She knew who Voss was and she knew who Keswick was, which just further puts the pin in the fact she's in the inner circle here, that she knew by sight who the two of them were.
Or because they're famous. I mean, the Vatruk are old.
Yeah, everyone knows who
Right.
they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she knew to
She knows
go
enough.
directly to them.
Right.
She knew
It was
they
enough that it scared the crap out of
Right.
her. Okay. So Shavaria's world is turned completely upside down because of any future that she was hoping to have with Xavian has now been put into jeopardy because she knows that a very powerful Vatruk wants to kill her. She says, quote, I hadn't known it then, but I can see it now, that every possible future I could have known shattered the moment that blade left my hand. All of the lies became dust, every excuse a vapor. I killed again, my own people again. I did it without sparing a single thought for their lives. I was never in any true danger, not from the Drakai. But Rhea's life could have been forfeit, and how many others? I can't do it. I can't sacrifice innocent lives, Fane or mortal. I won't. And what is the cost of all the lives I saved by betraying my people? I will pay with my own life. If Voss seeks vengeance and the Vatruk are working with the Latari, can I ever return home? Will she honor the pardon the king will surely grant me for succeeding in my mission? Unlikely. So she believes, finally, that the Vatruk are working with the Latari. So we at least have some progress there, right?
Yeah. However, it's another example of her really not knowing anything, but not by her own fault, because she's like, I was not really in any true danger. Bitch, that was the Vatruk. You absolutely were in danger. Maybe you don't think the Drakai would have hurt you, but you really think that Keswick wouldn't have hurt her? I believe that he would have hurt her. He would have killed her.
But surprise! Fane stone
Surprise!
dagger.
You like, I strongly believe that she had to do what she did. She was not making it out of there alive.
Oh, for sure.
Or
100%.
But also
untaken. She would have been taken at the very least.
Right. But they also at this point don't know who she is. And like she's just a schmohead.
Yeah, but so why would they even care? Look twice to not kill her.
Yeah.
But she also did not expect the dagger to the eye to actually kill him. She just thought it was a dagger. This is the first time she realizes what Xavian actually gave her is like instant death to Fane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's kind of rewind in this scene a little bit, because in the middle of this, Vari looks to Rhea and says, what did Cicely mean when she said, I'm bound to your king? And before anyone can address her question, she answers it herself. She says, it's the bargain I made with Naya, isn't it? The same bargain I made with Bhagya. And no one corrects her. I'm not even sure anybody is listening to her at this point. And this is a little bit of like a throwaway because it just shows that she has really no clue what she's talking about, but at least she is finally starting to question things and think about things.
Yeah. Right. Thank God.
Even if no answers are given.
Right.
Even if no one answers.
No answers and it's wrong, but she's trying.
Right. Even Xavier is like, we'll focus on your bargains that you're talking about later.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not important. We'll figure it out. Yep.
And then further, a moment that I feel like could have really ended things in this book. Vari tells Xavier the king won't be safe here. And his response is, the king is already aware of the Vitruk. Oh, and he's returned to Acherai. Do you want to meet him? She shakes her head and says, not yet. I'm not ready to choose, not ready to let go of the mail that holds me like I'm something precious. Because either path I take begins with the revealing of myself, and the male embracing me sees me for exactly what I am.
Or you're going to know who he is too. I'm just saying.
But like, how, just everyone imagine how different this book would have ended if he had just told her in this moment, by the way, it's me. We would have been able to skip a lot of drama.
A lot of it.
Some kidnappings, potentially. There would have been a lot.
I mean, Auri said she is weak in her ignorance. And this is an example. I know she was talking about the demon in that instance. But here is an example of she is weak in her ignorance, not realizing Xavier is the king. And to your point, Lindsey, it's not like she's not wanting to meet the king because she doesn't want to meet the king because she thinks Xavier is going to be forced to kill her when it comes out that she's Drakai. She's having all these spiraling thoughts because she's like, I don't want to put that on Xavier. I don't want him to have to say goodbye to me just yet. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Xavier. And Xavier could have just been like, surprise, you don't have to say goodbye. I am the king. I love you.
Surprise.
It's okay. All is forgiven. But he doesn't.
Surprise, I'm King
The
Julian.
book continues on and we have another 200 pages. And 3 more books.
Oh my
4 more
God.
Books.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Okay. He says, you know what? I've got some stuff to do. Why don't you go visit with old Medea?
Good old Medea. Head down
Medea.
to those kitchens.
And this starts a segment of the podcast in which Lindsey would like to call it Count the Vitruk.
Count.
Yes.
Count the Vitruk. Ding, ding, ding,
Count
ding,
the
ding, ding.
Yep.
Because I have a list.
We got a list. Let's do it.
Twice.
Okay.
And by twice, I mean
She
50
says-
times at this point.
Yep.
So many times. So Medea and Phaedra.
Yep.
Both. Because Medea kind of like tells her information and Phaedra is like, oh, but no, wait, I'm actually studying it. I've got more
I wrote a
information.
10-page paper about it. Let me make sure you get the info.
There were 9 Vitruk. Then the child was born. Then Murray died in the first war. She was the most powerful, by the way, leaving 9 Vitruk in the Vale. So there are 9 Vitruk total.
And then the next chapter,
Because Miri is gone.
Talk about all of those Vitruk in the big chapter 30.
Oh my God.
Chapter 30.
Thundering. 200
200 years ago.
Lindsey's voice memos today to these poor other women that she shares a podcast with went insane. Because I was reading the chapters in preparation for today's recording and I
lost it,
spiraled out of control, despite the fact that I know all of the information in the sense that like I have studied it and figured it out, but like certain words or certain paragraphs in certain places made me insane today. And I started second guessing everything.
You do. You read something and then you're like, am I reading it right? What if I read it this way? You get a random little butterfly thought that just makes you go completely off the rails. And you're like, What's my name again?
What year is it?
Who am I?
Am I in Brax?
How many Vitruk are there?
Right.
How many Vitruk are there? And guys, you're going to notice a wardrobe change
Yep.
when we get to chapter 30 because
Yep.
we're very, very tired.
Because
And
we're magic.
we're magic.
magic.
But also because
We're magic.
we're about to, I'm just going to, when we come back, we are going to blow your minds
Yep.
with so many theories.
So many theories. We have so much left to go through. And so to make sure that we are at our best, we are going to take a break. You're going to see us in different outfits. We're back.
Wardrobe
in our
change.
new outfits on another night because, man, that was getting long and we wanted to be fresh because we're about to play a game. Isn't that right, Lindsay? It's called
That's right.
What?
Count the Vitruk.
Let's do it.
Because
You
what
guys,
chapter are we on?
We're in chapter 30, which I think is probably one of the biggest bombs away chapters of this.
The
entire
Sundering.
book. Yes. All right. So we are in chapter 30. It is the Sundering 200 years ago. And let's count the Vitruk. Ready? And guys, buckle up because it's about to get unhinged here. Okay. In this chapter, there are all of the Vitruk are present because there are 9 people here and the child. So let's count, shall we? Number 1, Voss. Number 2, Keswick. Remember when Shavaria meets Keswick and kills him.
Dabs him.
Whoops. Through the eye. Whoops. She notes that he has serrated ears. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Number 3, Muri. Then there is mention of 2 females, both with white hair. One of those is Sai, who we met in Ishka's manor.
Yep.
The other one is an unnamed white-haired female. We are guessing that this is the unnamed healer that we see on the ship in the final chapters with Shavaria. We don't know her name, and this is really a guess, but 1 + 1 = 2 here. We're pretty sure she is the other female Vitruk. Okay, so we're at 5. Then there are 4 males. 3 with black hair and 1 with white hair. The white-haired male is Durek. We then have Nyx, black hair, Arda, black hair, and a 4th mystery male with black hair who also, as a Vitruk, would have a serrated edge to his ear. In our world-building episode, who did the author tell us to pay attention to his ear? Kelly?
Xavian.
You guys, I think I'm going to theorize here that last Vitruk, and before we look at it, this 10th one is the child, okay? But that last Vitruk, that is Xavian, my friends.
Love this theory.
Katharine
It's
and I
such
had
a fun one.
We've all had a lot of conversations. Katharine kind of disagrees here. Katharine?
I don't disagree. I fully. I want to make kind of a almost distinction, if you will, because I feel like we're treading into the world where we're eventually going to discover there's almost like levels of Vitruk, right?
Vitrukness.
Yes,
Levels of
essentially. Like,
What
have they
tier are
gone
you
full
on?
bad, or are they just
Have you
like
paid at the highest
a
level?
little bit? Exactly.
Yeah.
Because at their species level, they're all Fane, right? Vitruk is really just a group name for these very ancient Fane that are working together, and as we find out from Velius in a couple of chapters, stealing power from the Fae. It's kind of what distinguishes them as Vitruk. And what we remembered from Medea at one point, when she's telling us these number of Vitruk that there are, right? There was one that died in the war, Muri.
That was Muri,
There was
yep.
one that abandoned their cause, and then there was the child. So I feel like Xavian has to fall into the one that abandoned their cause, because
I would agree.
when Vari described his ear, it was just a nick. It
Right.
wasn't a full serrated edge. And so I feel like he spent time with them. And is no longer with them. I mean, and that kind of makes sense when you think about the fact that Sai is trying to figure out who the king is and supposedly has, right? If Xavian was working with the Vitruk, Sai would already know that Xavian is the king, right?
Right.
So
unless his identity as the king has been hidden.
True.
That was my other thing, is that
Right,
we
yeah.
don't know when he became king. I mean,
Yeah.
according to Vari, the king has supposedly not been seen for 80 years, I think she said, but we don't know when he became king. And I don't know why I get the impression he's not the king as of the Sundering, because he's not that old.
But
But
that
going
makes
on that
sense.
supposition, though,
Yeah.
we would have to assume that if he was still with the Vitruk, they would know his identity as the king as well. And Sai's giving us the
Yeah.
impression that they've only recently discovered it. So I feel like he has to be the one that just abandoned them, was
Yeah.
with
I
them.
totally agree.
They were
Agree.
evil and
Yeah.
abandoned them.
Yeah.
But you can't disagree that even if he is not currently a Vitruk, he was a Vitruk
At this
this
point.
time and was
Yeah.
present for this child's
Yes.
birth.
Well, technically speaking, just to clarify one thing, that term of Vitruk happened after the Sundering, and this is literally at the moment of the Sundering. So he would have had to have stayed with them even a little bit after this
the
point,
child.
Yeah.
right?
I kind of got the impression that whenever he decided to part ways, I think that he was part of their group now. I think that he is the one that was part of it and then, like you said, left.
Yeah.
I think that's the point when he probably somehow became the king of Acherai.
Yeah.
And he did that in order to be able to gain power to fight against them.
Exactly, because he's
Yes.
going to tell Vari in a couple of chapters that he was working to fight against the Vitruk. And I mean, we don't know, but it could be that during that first war, like Muri
Yeah.
died. Maybe it was the same time when Xavian also decided to abandon them as well.
Yeah.
That whole timing of when he became king, when he left them, I cannot wait to get some Vitruk backstory. I'm
Yes.
really excited about just more history, really.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. We could do a whole book just on them.
Yeah, I feel like Jess has to have one in her mind. Knowing her well enough, she has all of their backstories mapped out in her mind of how they got to this point. Because we've seen a lot in just book one, and I'm assuming this will continue into book two, is that it's not necessarily good or evil, black or white. There's always
Yes.
going to be a gray area. Always,
Yep.
everyone always has their own intentions and motivations that make them feel like they're right. So I'm
Yes.
sure that these Vitruk are not all just evil. They feel, for whatever reason, and I think
Yep.
it has a lot to do with whatever that backstory is, that they are justified in their feelings right now.
Yes, that's a perfect point for this chapter, actually. And let's get into it, because when I was reading this chapter, I started to be like, wait a minute. I maybe understand a little bit their rationale
Sure.
of why certain things
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about what happens in this chapter. So this chapter starts and Voss has a child. It was born weak. We get a quote. They fought to bind the fading threads of the child's life to tear, fought and won, tethering that life to the life force of their world. Just as its fading heartbeat began to thrum in time with the rhythm of the oceans, the veils were torn. The sundering wrenched away the tender budding threads of life they had so carefully woven. So
How
they
many times did you guys read that paragraph before it like
over
finally
and over
made
and
sense to
over.
you?
This paragraph fucked me up.
Yes.
Bad, I'm not
So
gonna lie.
much.
Yeah.
They worked so hard to save the child's life. They bound the child's life to tear. And as soon as that happened, they were successful. The sundering happened. The veils were formed. And all of that power was essentially like ripped out from everything, from the land, from the child, everything. And so the child died because the sundering ripped the power that saved them.
That's a fun thing. I love the lack of pronoun use in this entire chapter. We just see the child or it, but we never see a he or she.
Yep.
Just noting.
So the child dies. Voss's mate, who is Keswick, slips out of the room, and her sister, Muri, goes in to see her. Keswick, he's with the other males. He hears this blood-curdling scream, and they run back into the room. Muri is on her knees before the child. Voss is literally gripping her hair in her fist and has a fainstone blade to her throat. So, like, her sister is not playing around. There is some serious tension and emotion building up in this room.
That makes sense, right? She's a mother. Voss is a mother right here. She's lost her child. And I don't even think they probably realize at this point that because of the sundering, their power is now a fifth of what it was. And so she's desperate. Muri,
Right.
you have power. Save my child. Do it. You know?
Yeah. Kath, give us the quote, because this was a powerful quote from
So
from
Voss is speaking to Muri, and she says, the fates gift you with the power of Shivay, and you won't use it to save the innocent at my feet. And Muri replies, the gift is not without sacrifice, Voss. You know that. And Voss says she'll pay whatever price. So what she means in that statement is, we come to find, right? There is, when they were originally binding the child's life before the sundering, it was fine. They could make that happen. They had the whole of their power. They could accomplish that goal. Their power is a fifth of what it is. So there's a sacrifice. They have to give something if they want to change this, save this child's life. And that's what Muri is warning Voss against. And Voss is like, no, I don't care. I will do anything for my child. I will pay whatever price. Mm-hmm. And so the next day, dawn breaks, and Durek, Muri's mate, is not realizing yet that Muri has saved the child, right? Life on Terre is never going to be the same. These ancients tore the veils to save the humans, and leaving their own species to this miserable fate. And their power had been stripped from them. Only a fifth of what they had known for millennia remained. And here's the most important. Perhaps they could have learned to live with it, they being the Vitruk here, had it not already cost them so much. And so, like, the emotion we feel in this chapter, didn't you guys feel it from, like, all of them? They're all equally heartbroken over this child. Yeah. And so it's like almost like they're catalyst for all of their hatred of everything after the sundering, right?
Yeah. Later that evening, Voss beams at the newborn babe in her arms, and she says that Muri brought the child back, since Muri has the power of Shivay by binding Shivay to the child. When asked the price of the child's life, she answers Terre, and that Shivay is in the child now. That's pretty serious.
Whoa,
guys.
Terre
no pressure,
is the
child.
price.
The world.
For this one child.
And I think it's also mentioned that it was a price demanded by the fates themselves. And remember, in our world building episode, Jess was like, consider the fates as actual entities.
Yes.
So this was
themselves.
something demanded by them. You want this child alive? The price is Terre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And can we muse for a second? Okay, so we know that Muri's Fane gift is Shivay, right? What does that mean, like, in practicality? Like, obviously she can use it to save children's lives, but, like, what does that mean in an everyday sense to you guys?
I know the best thing it means is the fact that she can bind people with that power. And we hear later from Xavian in like a few chapters or something where he mentions that Muri was one of the only people who could bind people as part of their power. So we've gotten that sense of it, but I feel like there's got to be more.
Yeah, and when you said that, it like gave me a light bulb, because we have learned that a Fane's gift is only as powerful as their connection to Shivay. So it makes sense that Muri would be able to bind their gift, given the fact that she has the power of Shivay.
Right. Her connection is the ultimate
Which is
connection.
A big gift, but like,
yes,
in an everyday sense, is it as useful? Like, I would be curious to see if she has like a more
Is
What
it
else
an
does it do?
everyday
Power.
sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Would you hold on until next episode with that thought?
Sure.
I guess so. I guess we've got
Put
to.
a pin in it, as we
We've
always
committed,
say.
In
right?
it. I love
Okay.
how many times we're like, come to the very last episode
Yeah.
and you're
Sorry,
going to get
guys.
everything.
It's going to be
and we're
an
just doing it
18-hour
again.
episode. Sorry.
I just like as a Fane hope that like I don't need help opening pickle jars anymore.
Right.
Like, can
You
I
better have
like, a
superhuman
more
strength.
Everyday power would be great.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. But like, to your point, the power of Shivay, that's like the light of all life, right? Could you make things grow, kill fit? Like, is it
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
the power
What
to
do you mean?
create and
Are
destroy?
you like Demeter? Do you control the seasons? Like, what is
Right?
it?
Want a
Oh,
mushroom
I've-
there? Grow. Like, what,
You know
like,
what
what
it
does
is?
that mean?
Yeah.
It's in the same bucket of you have the power of Shivay. I'm a Reaver. Okay, but what does that mean?
What is that? Guess what? I bet you it's on purpose.
Undefined.
I bet it matters.
Right. A further quote from Yuri here that is absolutely heartbreaking. She looks at Durek, her mate, and she says, "How could I not? She would have hated me. Just as I hate myself for letting our own child ...
Oh,
Actually, technically it's a dash here, but
It's a
sounded
dash.
way more dramatic than M dash.
Dash.
So they seemingly lost a child too. And this can really be taken one of two ways. Either are absolutely heartbreaking. Either the child died, which means that Muri and Durek went through a devastating loss. And so it would for sure make sense why she would want to help her sister from feeling that same pain. Or it could mean that the child left the Vitruk and is potentially out there and she's worried about it. We really don't know. I'm going to assume that a child died, and that is heartbreaking, but again,
It
really
is.
connects why she did for this child what
Her
she did.
catalyst for doing
right. What she
that.
couldn't do for herself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have
Totally
to
agree.
agree because if this child is out there somewhere, then our number of Vitruk is wrong. And that would mean like everybody's history of the number of Vitruk is also wrong. So I feel like that
Yeah.
it has to be, or nobody knows about this child. So they're either alive or they're dead.
Either they're alive or they're dead. If you watched our Quicksilver stuff. That's funny. Oh, God.
The other thing I just had a thought about here too is, okay, let's assume for a moment that we are correct in our game of Count the Vitruk and that Xavian was present. Where was he
Right.
in this scene?
Right.
Like, they all rush, they all go to help. Dirk creates storms to distract them, and they're like, grab your mate, and like there's chaos going on, and yet we don't get
He's hanging
Xavian's
out
name
by the mantle.
anywhere.
No.
Or even mention of the other male was doing this and helping. I wonder if that's because Jess doesn't want us to connect. If the other male was helping with a power, maybe she doesn't want us to make the connection of what Xavian's power is. Again, this is all assuming that we're right, and we might not be. But oh, okay, keep going. Say something.
No. It's just really interesting what you said of maybe he had a power and he was doing something in the background.
Yes.
Because it does seem so coincidental that at the same moment when they're trying to save this child's life, the sundering happens. What if his power wasn't to help the Vitruk? What if it was the opposite? And I didn't think that
Like
until
he
you just
caused
said
that he was part of the sundering.
Not or used whatever the hell his Reaver power is, whatever that is, to aid in that process.
To aid the ancients.
Aid the chaos of this, right?
Like maybe he couldn't help what
I don't
Muri
know.
ultimately
But-
did. We don't know where he is. But now when you said what is his power that he's doing, my thought was like, well, what if he wasn't helping them?
Right.
Yeah,
What
like,
if he
what if
kind of was...
He was the dissenting, like knew that he didn't like what was going on and used his power.
This was
to
the moment.
potentially
Yeah. I have
And
no
maybe help
basis in
create
reality
some
for that.
Yes. And
But
maybe
it is
that's
interesting to think about, right? Like,
Yeah.
he was there.
Yeah.
He
So what
was
was he
there.
doing? To your point, what was he
doing?
doing? I'm going to always look up something. So I just decided, let me just Google what Reaver means. Because now we're thinking on the lines of what if he wasn't aiding in them? What if he was hurting them?
Yeah.
I'm just going to read the definition. So it's an archaic term for a plunderer, a robber, a marauder, someone who steals or seizes things by force. To reave means to rob, despoil, or tear away. I have to wonder if his power is along those lines.
Well, I mean, okay, so what only thing we know of a Reaver is that
Because
it is
they told her tear apart into veils. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So the only thing we know of what a Reaver is that quote of they can invade the mind of any man or any
that
fae,
was
right? That
Yeah.
could mean any of those things that you just said. Rob you of your senses,
Or-
rob you of your mental
But remember,
witness,
even
all those things, you know?
yes, but even Bari said she didn't trust
She
that
doesn't
definition,
believe it.
and she
Right.
doesn't question anything.
Right.
But she
Yeah.
questioned that.
Yeah.
So
But-
I question
my
it
point-
because she doesn't. But I hear
Yes.
you. Yeah.
But my point is that we have always said, what does that really mean, though? Like, what could that
Yeah.
mean? This could be more of a clue of, like, yeah, maybe that's not fully correct, but
Yeah.
maybe that is a broader part of what does it mean to invade the mind. And is that only one small part of actually what a Reaver can do? Like, yeah, you can invade the mind of somebody, but what does that look like in practice? And is that like a tenth of what they can actually do? So
Yeah.
that's my
And especially
point.
if he's a king. And we know he is ridiculously powerful, right? Like the bog sprite was like his power. This, Lindsey, you mentioned the strength of his power so
Yes.
much that she needed a piece of it. If he's so ridiculously powerful and this definition has anything to do with it, oh man, now I really, really question what he was doing at the Sundering.
Yeah, and I think we've brought it up before too, but when we talk about Shivaria and Xavian being mated, your power, your Fane gift, is only as powerful as your connection to Shivay. So if Shivaria is the Valtura and Xavian is mated to her, that makes his Fane gift hella strong.
He got
Yep.
a boost of power. Like,
Yes.
For sure.
Like, no matter how
A
strong
one-up.
he was before,
They're
he's hella strong.
absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Wow,
I was not
okay.
planning for that theory to come out
No.
here
Okay,
just now.
but that makes me think
Yeah.
of another thing. But we can't talk about it until the next episode. So
So hold it. Hold it. All right, next chapter, we are back in the present day, and we see Medea and Phaedra talking to Shivaria. And Phaedra tells her, quote, "It wasn't until the Sundering that the Vatruk turned against the Fae. That is what started the first war." Let's note here, she says Fae, not Fane. Medea tells us many mortals died in the first war as they did in the second, but did you never stop to ask yourself why? After breaking the world in the Sundering, after diminishing their own power to prevent more bloodshed, why would the Fane turn on the very humans that they left to protect?
And we learned that last chapter, right? Remember when they said they did the Sundering to protect the humans?
Right. So what happened? What changed? Why is all this going on? Phaedra tells us, when the Fane came to the aid of the Fae, the Vatruk stood behind mortal men. They offered up your race as fodder, talking to Shivaria here. So offered up your race as fodder, knowing that the Fane, who had already gone through such great lengths to protect your people, would rather yield than slaughter them. It was so easy for the Vatruk to convince the mortals that the Fane had at last come to destroy them. The war hardly began before it was over, the Vatruk having won the moment they retreated to Brax. This is like a history war strategy lesson. So much data
from an
dump here.
old lady.
From an old lady in a rocking chair.
But it's really interesting because it sounds like the Vitruk are doing all of these things. They are causing wars, right? To keep the Fane out of Brax, to keep the humans out of Brax. Why? They want Brax. They want whatever is in Brax, and it seems like they're going to go to war to make sure everybody else stays out of Brax.
And again, remember, Auri and Rish's mother was looking for something in Brax.
Yep.
Right? What was in Brax?
Right.
That
We know.
so
Something
many
big.
people were trying to protect. And at some point, even they talk about the Valtura, and Xavian says that the Valtura is in Brax in the southern continent.
Yep.
So is it that they all thought the Valtura were there and they were trying to protect the Valtura potentially?
And that's where I still can't decide if the
I know.
Vatruk want the Valtura to use whatever the Valtura does, if they want to stop the Fane from getting the Valtura. Like, where on the side of the Valtura do they side?
So many questions.
I literally,
Just
I'm
all
quiet
questions,
because
nothing but
I have
questions.
no clue.
Yeah.
I
Your
have
brain is
no
like,
clue.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. Why?
Yes.
Like, it
Yes.
is so
Why?
much. So much.
So then Vari continues and she asks about the Second War. What about the Second War then? This is all talking about the First War. And Medea answers and she says, it took generations for the Fane to repair the rift made by the First War. Slowly, trade resumed between the continents. Tenuous alliances were made, even some friendships. But the Vitruk would only allow it to continue for so long. When they saw the hearts of mortal men softening toward the Fane, they knew they had to intervene or risk our armies making their way past the southern borders and into Brax. With the support of the Drakai, they raided villages, burned homes, and took orphan children to raise in service of the king. Now, due to Vari's past, we know all of this to be true, right? And so when Medea is telling Shavaria all of this, the pieces are really starting to click into her head of, oh no, I've seen that firsthand. This is the truth.
Right.
I have been lied to basically my entire life.
Yeah. I am one of those orphan children that was taken in to be trained to be a Drakai.
Yeah.
Literally,
I mean,
that's
she
me.
literally was with the Drakai, raiding villages, burning homes.
Yep.
She was part of that.
Yep.
She saw it.
Now she knows
firsthand
what she was doing truly.
in the
Yeah.
damn Apple chapter.
Oh, that apple
All the
chapter.
more reason I'm loving that chapter.
It comes back every time.
Then Xavian enters the room and says that their whole crew were on the southern continent when the Second War broke out, that they were all there for the same purpose. He says, we sought Valtura. So yes, we fought in the war against the Vitruk, against the Drakai, but never against the people. The lines are drawn in the sand at this point. Whether he was with them at the birth of the child, when it comes to the Second War, they are no longer together, which makes sense when you think about the timing of the Acharai king not being seen in 80 years. This would obviously make sense that he was in that role and would be in a position of power to fight against them at this point.
And I guess that also then makes sense why he wants to keep his identity hidden. Like, he was with them for so long. He doesn't want them to realize that it is him who is against
It is
them.
he.
It is he. And again, it would make sense that he became that person to put himself in a position of power that they don't know about so that he can lead an army to fight against them.
Quite literally. Yes.
And we don't even know how, like, Acharai kings become kings. We know they've only had kings, but we don't know if it's like his dad was king, so now the son is king. We don't know how they become kings.
I read a passage somewhere that it was the hottest man.
Probably.
Okay.
The one that got
That
It
makes
was
a
like
lot
a-
of sense.
I can't remember the page?
There
or
was
the
a
chapter
competition.
number?
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember it
There
was
was, like,
the
a
guy
calendar
whose
situation.
name rhymes with Bay. That's what it
See,
was.
you guys follow our theories. We're popular.
That's the biggest theory
popping
we've
over
had to
here.
date. There was a hot guy competition. They were making a calendar. He won, and it was like, well, he must be the king now. So,
Yep.
perfect.
And
Only
then,
women got to judge it.
The last quote of this portion is, he says, "The ancients knew that the Vatruk might grow vengeful, that they would not interfere with the choice those of us made to remain behind. So they left us with a seed of Shivay, a soul to guard us if there was ever a need. We call it Valtura."
What? They call it what?
Valtura.
And again, like, I kind of want to point out the use of the word ancients here, because we keep hearing about these ancients and we keep hearing about these fates, and this is going to become important. I feel it in my
is.
jellies.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
It's gonna be. Are you guys ready
I
for our
know.
next big theory? It's my
Yes,
favorite
you guys.
one.
We've been waiting for literally a month and a half for this exact moment to share this specific theory with you. Are you ready, Katharine? Do you want to start it off?
Yes.
Yes.
Because this was literally like 7 pages of me pulling this together and then having Lindsey condense it into a not just completely unhinged spiral so that we could
literally
actually
sent-
talk about it.
I
My
literally
favorite
sent
text you've ever
Katharine
sent.
a message that said, "I
Love you."
No, it wasn't that. It was,
That was the other one
these
that we
are
can't talk about.
These are the ramblings of a much loved yet deeply crazy person. This is because
Yes.
I went into the outline and it was like word vomit in here because Katharine was so excited. And
Yep.
let me tell you, there's some good-ish
Get ready.
in here.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Here we go. All right, Katharine,
All right.
tell us.
This is our theory. There is the child that was born and died at the Sundering, and there is the child of Shivay. And these are 2 separate and distinct people. And Vari is the child of Shivay. She is the Valtura. She is not the child that was born and died at the Sundering. And we know who the child is that was born and died at the Sundering because we played an amazing game called Process of Elimination.
Dun, da, da, da.
Ta-da!
I will say, for anyone out there who is like, wait a minute, I thought Shavaria was the child that died and
It's called the
all
Child
this
of
thing.
Shivay.
Right. You are not alone. On my first read, and I think on all of our first reads, we also thought in that chapter at the Sundering, when the child is born and it dies and it's brought back to life, we were like, this is Shavaria. This makes sense.
A child that was bound to Shivay.
Right. It's like, obviously this is her, right? So do not fret. We were there too. However, now that we have read this book
1,000
times, how do you count? How does one count? We are, dare I say, 100% certain it is not her, and 100% certain we know who the child is.
And we can
Just put
prove
it there.
it. We got receipts,
Let's go.
babies.
We have receipts.
Let's go.
So, Kelly, why don't you take us first through the titular child of Shivay, who is Shavaria? Let's nip that one in the butt. That's her.
Yes. All right. So, Child of Shivay, the title of the book. This is Shavaria herself. She is the Valtura. Sprites have told her that she was left by the old blood of the Fae. What do we know of the Valtura? This is a word that gets thrown around a lot. People are looking for the Valtura. People seem to insanely respect the Valtura. So, in chapter 31, we get a quote. The ancients knew that the Vatruk might grow vengeful, but they would not interfere with the choice those of us made to remain behind. So, they left us with a seed of Shivay, a soul to guard us if ever there was need. We call it Valtura. Then, later on in chapter 39, Voss calls Vari Shivay Lethrek Valtura. which translates to, may the light of all life greet you in the morning, Valtura. And it is in that exact chapter that Vari is revealed to be the Valtura, the Child of Shivay, this seed, this soul that that the ancients left us with in case we were ever to need it. So that is Shivaria. Her name is Shivaria. It makes sense. The timing works out. Okay. This is Shivaria. Now, one could make the argument, like we said before, and like we thought on our initial read, that she is both the Child of Shivay and the child of the Fadruk born at the Sundering. Lindsey,
No.
tell us why that is not the case. We do not think that's the case. Please help us.
All right, a couple of things here. First of all is timing in general, right? The Sundering happened 200 years ago, which means that child is 200 years.
200 years.
Okay. Shivaria is 24. Now, I guess technically you can make the argument of, is she really that age? But we're not going to go there because we have other options that make more sense, especially given that we are in a book where we have not been hinted at the option of a stasis at all, right?
Yeah.
So it would be a wild theory for us to assume that her age was incorrect. So we're going to assume that that information is correct. She is 24, which means the timing of her being the child just doesn't make sense. But we have more, okay?
There sure is more.
Let's talk about the use of pronouns. The author has had a great red herring in chapter 30 with her pronoun usage. Notice she says, the child was born weak. It had come too early. It had been too frail to survive. Now, it switches, but we'll get there. But she is no mere mortal. When all of these she's are talking about Voss, okay? But she is no mere mortal, not a creature destined to succumb to the will of the fates. She is Fane, ancient and powerful, like the ancients who came before. Now, because it says ancient and powerful, we know that it is an older Fane who has the pronoun antecedent here, which means that the she here is referring to Voss, the mother, and how she won't give up even though her child has just died. The she is not referring to the sex of the child. Note how the child is not given a gendered pronoun at all, and it is only referred to as it. This is great writing to make us assume that the child is female here, but it is not. It is always the child. It is always it throughout the entire chapter.
Yep.
Yes, we looked.
Yes. Multiple times.
So, if we don't think that it is Vari, Katharine, who do we think that it is?
Okay, let's play the game of eliminate people.
If you're still going along with us at this point, we commend you because we are insane people. Katharine, continue to prove that.
Insane. Certifiable.
So
Fine.
We're going to play a game of let's eliminate people that we can eliminate.
This
eliminated
is the second game of the chapter. of the episode.
So many fun games now.
Games. It's game night.
Vari. We're eliminating Vari for everything we just said above. Then Muri, Voss, Nyx, Arda, Keswick, Sai, Direk, unnamed other white-haired Vatruk.
Yep.
All of them were there when the child was born, before the Sundering. It's not one of them. And Xavian, if you believe he is that person that was also there. But I can even rule him out anyway because he mentions later he was born before the Sundering. His name is not explicitly stated, but we can use context clues to guess that he must have been a young adult during that first war. Xavian's not that child.
Yep.
Nurai, we're going to be introduced in our next episode to a character named Nurai in chapter 36. She's presented in a flashback 3 years after the Sundering, and she even says herself, I was born in Brax shortly before the Sundering. So Nurai is not the child. We then have Auri and Rish, children that were born roughly 40 years ago, 20 years before the Second War. Neither of them could be the child that was born at the Sundering 200 years ago. Yep. Phaedra, she's giving us history lessons with Medea. She is Fane, but she's only actually 16. It's not her.
She's a true child, Fane.
She's a true child. Kashek, we learn in chapter 35 from Narai, who's talking to Auri at that point, and saying, your mate is the strongest healer of his kind born since the war. And I think Bari asks which war, and Narai says the first. So he was born after the first war, though Kashek is not the child born at the Sundering. Her age is not stated directly. We can infer it from context clues. Sisri states her own age is like 200 years, and by virtue of that, Ishka would have to be older. Obviously, Ishara and Sisri can't be the child because their mother is Ishka, and the child's parents are Kazek and Voss. So, the remaining Fane we have been introduced to that we haven't yet ruled out as the child. Rhea and Torin. I am not getting the impression that they are the child. I'm just not. If anything, I would expect this. I'm not getting there. No. You guys tell me. They are not doing it for me.
They're not important enough. They're great characters. They're side characters. I don't think Jess would write that in that way. Yeah.
So now that brings us to the last remaining character, Vikesh. He is described in chapter 1. The ends of his stark white hair brush against his umber skin. Yep. And it's mentioned his pure white hair is a sure sign he shares that Fane heritage. And who is the only other Fane character in the book who is described as having brown skin?
Lindsey.
Who is it?
It's Keswick.
His father!
The father of the child!
Literally,
ding, 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 ding.
Vikesh has the white hair and umber skin he inherited from his father Kazak, the mate to Voss, the parents of the child in chapter 30, The Sundering. And in case that doesn't do it enough for you, who is the secret Fane that we find at the very, very end of the book? Oh, it's
whose
also,
eyes change?
Also Vikesh, whose eyes turn blue and whose ears are no longer human.
His ears fainted up. Yes, they do.
It's Vikesh. That is the child.
And I just had a thought too. It does say when Shivaria sees Vikesh in his Fane, like true form, it just says that she sees the tips of his ears. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say if she sees the shape of the rest of his ears.
That's true.
Yep.
If he was with the Vatruk for at least some time, he might have a serrated edge to his ear.
He could. But either way, he is Fane.
Yep.
And he is the child. Vikesh is the child, guys. He was born and died.
Ding, ding, ding.
And just to impart how serious that is.
Oh my God, I'm having a moment.
His life is bound to Tear.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay.
Tear is dying.
Yes.
How do you solve that problem and keep Vikesh alive, right? And I think when you said Kelly earlier, right, when we started getting sympathies towards the Vatruk, when I started realizing that Vikesh was the child and his life is bound to Tear, I felt that same, like, I feel for the Vatruk, right? They want to keep him alive. They want to do anything possible to fix this issue, the fact that Tear is dying, but they want to save Vikesh as well. And I have sympathy from a maternal perspective to Voss in this specific instance, not the rest of what she does.
Yes.
But you guys, if we're right about this, it opens up much larger implications in the world of we have to assume, okay, if Vikesh is the child, we have to assume that he was with the Vatruk for a certain amount of time.
Yes.
He was raised by
Raised,
him, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean for his character as a whole and his intentions in Shavaria's life?
Yes.
If that's
And whose side is he
who
on?
was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Whose side
where
is
does
he on?
fall? Like, this opens up a ginormous can of worms. And it also really, to me, like you were saying, it talks about his fate. Like, if he is tied to Ter and Ter is dying, and now he has these interactions with Shavaria, who's the Valtura, what does it mean for their relationship moving forward? Is it like neither can live while the other survives situation?
Love Harry Potter reference.
Yes. Oh my God. You guys.
Are, like, do we lose one of them in order for the world to survive?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm having two moments right now.
Deep breaths, Kelly.
Ooh,
Deep
okay.
breaths.
Yeah, breathe, Kelly, breathe.
First of all,
I'm getting hot.
yes. First of all, we'll come back to this in a second, but I have a theory now about miasma. And we're going to come back to that in a second.
Okay.
Which miasma specifically?
Yeah.
In general,
There's a lot.
The word. Okay.
Okay.
But what you just said, Lindsay, are if they are tied. Oh, okay. If Vikesh is the child, which I am convinced he's a child, and the veils we know are going to fall. Jess told us that in our interview. She told us that in our world building. Will Vikesh die when the veils fall? Does that mean that someone is going to kill him in order to make something else happen?
Do that for some reason?
Is he, in order for the veils to fall?
Is he the catalyst?
Is he the catalyst? Does he, remember, Jess said Vikesh is her favorite character. Does he sacrifice himself?
Does he know this? Does he realize any of this?
Okay.
And
he's got to. I'm sorry, he's got to know. If he was raised by the Vatruk and he was raised by these people, by seemingly Muri who saved him, he's got to know what his role is in all of this.
But then that brings me back to, what do the Vatruk want to do? So let's go down that spiral of, if the veils fall, would that kill his life? Well, then I would feel like the Vatruk would be searching for the Valtura. If the Valtura has anything to do with a catalyst for the veils falling, right? We don't actually know what Valtura is going to do other than protect people from Vatruk. But would they be trying to keep the Valtura away from everybody so that power can't be used, so that Vikesh would not die? Like, what are the Vatruk working towards because I know one thing they are working towards, or at least Voss as a mother, anything to keep her son alive.
Yeah.
That I feel like would be her end goal as some solution. But maybe that does mean they need the veils to come down if his life was originally bound to the whole of Ter, right? Before he originally died at the Sundering. Maybe they want the veils then to come down so that they can really properly bind it. Like, it's like, it could go either way.
There's so many possibilities. Because there's so much unknown that we don't know about their magic, right? We don't know about their true power either, like the strength of it.
Kelly looks so stressed.
I'm so stressed because I have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts. I'm not doing my usual hands up, but I'm doing a different.
I'd also like to point out here that if this is all correct, Shavaria killed Vikesh's father.
She sure did. Oh my God.
She sure did. Him in the eye with a Fanestone blade. What do you think her old friend / teacher / shadow master /
lover
Vikesh is going to think about that when he finds out that Vari is responsible for his father's death?
Okay, we'll take it.
I was going to say, it depends on where his loyalties lie. Who knows?
Take that then a step further. How is he going to feel when he finds out his mother tortured his miasma?
That's true.
His mother and his uncles tortured Shavaria. We got some family drama going to be happening.
Drama. They're going to be on a Jerry Springer episode, these people. These Fane. Okay, guys. I think it's time.
Let's go into our next theory. Kelly, can you bring us to our next fun theory? Because we're just going to go boom, boom, boom and give nobody any reprieve on this one.
So as we're talking, and we're talking through this whole concept of Vikesh is the child born at the Sundering, and then he died, and then he was brought back. And we have harped on the fact that both Vikesh and Xavian have referred to Vari as Miajna, which we know it means my mate. I think, and we all think at this point, the reason why Vikesh calls her Miajna is because he was supposed to be her mate. He was born for her to mate Shivaria. He then died. Does that mean that his mating bond then died with him? And because Muri had to do what she did and use a different power and all of these things to bind him to Shivay, did that mating bond not go back to him, but instead go to Xavian, who, as Lindsey and Katharine both pointed out, was the only other potential male that we don't know there at the Sundering when Vikesh was born and died, and coincidentally was the only other unbonded, like unmated Fane. So we think that the reason they both call her Miaja is not because, oh, there's like, I don't understand, are they the same person, or, you know, are they confused? They're not confused. He was her mate and then he died. So what happens to a mating bond? What happens to the magic of that bond when a Fane dies? I think we're getting the answers here, and something happened. He was not supposed to come back to life. They fucked with fate, essentially. They had to make a deal, a bargain with the fates to bring him back.
What a kick in the balls. I die and you get my mate's bond? Get my mate. Wow.
Okay, but let's take it a step further.
Whew, let's go.
Let's assume that that is correct. Okay?
I'm assuming it. It is.
I'm going to assume it too. I feel pretty strongly about this, actually.
Very.
I feel it in my jellies. Okay?
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Putting that on a shirt, by the way. I love that.
Does that mean, because we know from earlier episodes that when Vikesh and Shivaria are working together as Shadow Master, student teacher when she is younger, he is not aware that she is the Valtura until a certain point. That doesn't mean that he doesn't know that they are mates, right? He calls her Miajna. So that means that at one point he tracked down his mate, or was potentially drawn to her. He knew who she was and was drawn to her, became the Shadow Master, worked under Liana, and at some point, i.e. when Shivaria met Bhagya in the woods, that's when he realized that his mate also happens to be the Valtura.
And you have to wonder if it's because she's Valtura that he realized it, right?
And that they're mates. That makes sense that the Child of Shivay and the child who's tied to Shivay. That makes sense.
Exactly.
They are mates.
Yes.
Exactly. That's
100%.
Because he's feeling that bond, like that mating bond to Shivay via her being the child of Shivay. Yeah. So maybe that is like he lost the bond, but there's still something there because he's bound to Shivay and she is coincidentally the child of Shivay. They were at one point mates. So there's like some little thread that maybe is still there, and maybe that's why he can sense it, or he feels some oots.
Katharine, literally 1,000%.
Yes.
Yeah. You've got it. Even if you're not mated anymore. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's why, because technically he is. If she is the seed of Shivay, if she is Shivay, that's how he's alive. That has to be the connection.
Yeah.
Guys.
So think about them
mind blown.
On the ship together then. Think about what he did to her and what he put her through, in the sense that he really did feel like they were meant to be. So imagine now those scenes through that lens and how heartbreaking it is for him to do those things to her and then let her walk off of the ship into Acherai
to her other mate.
Yeah. Especially because we think, like we talked about it in that first episode, that he wasn't doing it because he wanted to. He didn't want to break her heart.
Yeah.
Something's happening in that background, making him have to push her towards Xavier.
And then did Vikesh know that Xavier was the king? Because if the rest of the Vitruk, which we learn from Sai, that they basically had just found out that Xavier was the king of Acherai, right? So seemingly, Vikesh could or could not know in that moment that Shivaria is walking off the ship into the hands of her new mate and meeting him. Imagine how heartbreaking that is for Vikesh.
And that's a good point, because we see Vikesh at the end. He's not with the Vitruk, and he hasn't been with the Vitruk. And in fact, the Vitruk ship is burning into the sea, and Vikesh is with Felius. So you got to think Vikesh has not been with the Vitruk this whole time, or at least that's my guess.
Wow.
He's not with the Vitruk.
No.
So then you got to wonder, does he realize Xavier's is that? Does he have other means of knowing it? Felius has all the knowledge, so maybe he knows because he's with Felius, and Felius has all the secrets.
And those are Jess's two favorite characters.
Oh,
Vikesh
I
and
love
then
that.
Felius.
My gut tells me that Vikesh didn't know that Xavier is the king. And I don't know why, but my gut
I
is
agree with
telling
you, but
me
I don't know
that.
why either.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And I think it's part
Because
of
it would
all
just be
those
too much. It would just be
conversations.
too much.
Yeah, I think it's all part of those conversations, like with Sai and Ishka and Ishara, and them really just figuring it out and thinking about the king was
right.
And if we still haven't completely figured out how Xavier is able to hide the fact and stay hidden, so I don't think until we know how that's happening, we'll be able to figure out who knows and who doesn't.
Right.
But seemingly, it's a pretty new revelation that Xavier and the king are the same person. So I feel like Vikesh doesn't know it. But either way, he's letting his person that he still very feels a strong connection to basically walk into potentially her death. She is there on a death mission that he trained her for. That is devastating.
Yep. Guys,
I feel like we all need to process this.
I know. I was just pausing for a moment because I'm like,
do we pause and play some of our background music for people who just take a breath?
Or our intro music that's like
dun 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 dun.
And that was Pirates of the Caribbean.
That was we both
That
started doing
was.
Pirates. Dun 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 dun.
I was like, where's Jack Sparrow in all of this? He's in the
Why
sea.
is all the rum gone?
He's avoiding the chai brucas.
Wild.
It's wild. And I will tell everyone, while we did have a lot of these main theories ready to present to you, a lot of our musings about what the implications of these main theories you're hearing first. We are discovering
this is live
implications
and
of a lot of this right now.
And I like what you said. You both said something, and I just want to repeat it here for emphasis because I thought it was so important what you said. So, Lindsey, the fact that you said that it's an almost like a one cannot live while the other survives. And Kelly, how you brought up the fact that he is bound to Shivay. She is the child of Shivay, and how that could completely conflict ultimately.
Yeah.
I think is just worth repeating again, because it's like, we don't know, and we would hope that that's not the case, but you have to wonder if that bond between them is somehow going to actually cause issues.
You know what else it's making me think, you guys? I'm not going to go very far into it. I'm just going to throw it out there so that our listeners can absolutely hate me and spiral, and then we'll talk about it maybe another time.
Maybe.
what if Xavian and Vari are not endgame?
Oh, yeah.
And what if it's Vikesh and Vari?
Oh, yeah.
I've had that thought too.
Because if they are tied so much like this, you really are going to tell me that those two are not going to be a bigger relationship and a bigger love story of some kind? And true mate.
And when you say true mate, that's a good point. So Xavian says later on the most heartbreaking thing of saying, the fates crafted you for me. I've waited a millennia for you. But if we're right in our theory, the fates crafted Vikesh for Vari and not Xavian. And Xavian is not an asshole. Wow. He is not a horrible MMC. If
we love him,
loses Vari, I do not see him ever recovering from that, and it will utterly destroy me because I want people to be happy.
I think he would too.
I think
he would
let her walk away,
but I think it would also destroy him at the same time. And
if
it would
someone
destroy
tried to
me
take her
for him.
He would fight.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Oh, you guys. Okay. Well, we'll just leave it there, but something to noodle on.
We'll just leave it there in the most depressing thought ever.
Seriously. My eye is twitching.
Shifting back to present day.
Oh. After all of that, let's shift back to present day now that all those wild theories are out there in the ether. Vari is thinking about all the lies that she has been fed literally her entire life, how she feels like she has allowed herself to be deceived and blinded. She starts to wonder if Vikesh knew the extent. What are you doing?
It just makes me think about it even more.
Oh. I know. It's just
like if Shivari is.
I was like, what did I say? What's wrong?
If Vikesh knew the extent of the lies.
Yeah. Right? Could you imagine? She's like, he must have known, right? He has to.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Continue the quote, Kelly. Oh, my God. Because
she has to.
The last line.
She says that he must have, with that being the quote, last thread binding the delicate facade that is my life.
Binding.
And this girl is like
Yuri
in a pit.
Bound him to Shivay. Jess, you are a fucking genius with your language.
Words. It's like she should be an author or something.
She really should write a book.
She should write a book.
Yeah, we could buy
and this is a devastating realization for her too. She's like, everyone has lied to me. I don't know who to trust, who knew what. This is actually insane. She starts to have her thoughts wander to Voss and her mate. She knows that Voss is going to kill her. She just killed her mate, which, according to our theory, is Vikesh's dad, Papa Vikesh, okay? And she is just spiraling, absolutely spiraling in this moment. She actually even almost admits her feelings to Xavian. So basically says if the situation with Voss were reversed, quote, I wouldn't, not if I were her, not if it had been ... She stops herself. She does not continue that sentence. We believe that she was going to say, if it had been you, if it had been us, what would I have done in that situation? Okay. She stops herself there because her thoughts immediately drift to another time when she opened up to someone.
Heartbreaking.
She goes, too much. You give away too much. My heart falters a beat, my stomach turning inside out. And suddenly I'm back on that ship. You're letting your guard down, Shivaria.
That is the most heartbreaking sentence of this entire book, by the way. She's absolute worst.
Everybody breaks my heart. Everybody lets me down. Who am I? Like, what is happening in my life? So in this moment now, we finally get Xavian starting to get into this phase of ask me anything, Shivaria, but she continues to just not ask him things.
Yeah, this was kind of the first moment for me that I wondered if this is a piece of the lie like think about that wording with Bhagya, right? What if she has to ask him and that he cannot tell her unless he asks? Like
100%.
what if
The
part
whole
of
king
the glamour
Everything.
everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like think about it, because we don't only hear that from Xavian, we also
Right.
hear it from
Yeah.
Auri.
Yes.
So what if the glamour, like we've talked before about the glamour being something potentially that Auri was doing, keeping the identity. What if the glamour is not coming from them, but it's coming from Shivaria? Like they've both had said, you need to ask us several times, and she never does.
Yeah.
So is that like, is it her? Like, does she have the power to ultimately break it? And
Break everything.
Is it as easy as just asking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if her having like essentially that knowledge just kind of
that she could break
does
the
it.
lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
A
I
piece of
completely
the
agree with that.
lie.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
The lie being the glamour, the whatever. Like
Maybe the bonds or the oaths and the bargains that they have. Like we've mused that maybe there's something else going on and they're oath bound and that's why they can't talk. Like in this moment, Lindsey, I completely agree that she can do something here and is not sure that she can, and they're trying to tell her what to do, but they can only say so much.
Okay, so then let's take it a step further. If she has by Bhagya released a piece of this lie, what piece did she already give up? Like if that's the case, okay, and she is the glamour, she is not in her true form right now, what did she give up to Bhagya exactly?
So my impression on that is the binding. And like essentially she is bound in this almost human form, right?
Her form.
And the piece that is being unbound is her power. Shivay, right? At the very end, introduces
Totally
herself
makes sense.
as
Which is why
Shivay.
she starts having
The dreams.
And
Yes.
why her entire appearance changes as well. It's got to be her power being released, coming out.
That for sure. So then the first piece of the lie with her first bargain with Bhagya is releasing her demon, releasing her power. Her second bargain with
Just
Bhagya
more
at
of
the
it.
end is releasing everything. Like from it's out now. You are fully
and
Fane
remember
at this point.
the Bog Sprite also got a piece, so it's like slowly pieces pulling it apart. I have a theory on all of that. We're gonna talk about in 6 about it, but why it had to be each little piece, why it had to do,
had to follow those steps.
it had to do that.
What changed after her first thing with Bhagya?
Her power,
The dreams.
What happened after the second thing with Bhagya? Her appearance, who she really is. So then what changed after her run-in with Naya?
More of her power. Remember, it was more of it was released. It completely overwhelmed Kashek, made him essentially bedridden. His power was
Also,
not,
though,
it's just building up more of her power.
More.
but also after the run-in with Naya was when her and Xavian also started to speed up their relationship. So her mate bond situation started to show more.
Yeah.
Literally
totally.
that night was the cabin.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
The Miajna thing, did it come then?
Yes.
Which
literally
would make
right
a lot
then.
of sense because humans don't have mates, but we know she becomes Valtura. We know she becomes a Fane. Fane have mates, so it makes sense why that is also being released because now she knows her form is changing, right? Her bond can be solidified.
Is
that the word?
Best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
This is the
literally.
best.
Holy crap.
But this. I'm sorry. We're going to get to the point, but because we're just spiraling at this point anyway, I'm going to bring it up now. Remember when he gets his bond mark, but she doesn't get anything on herself? She's still human.
Yes.
So what
absolutely.
does she look like on her skin when she's
When it's
Valtura
not-
at the end? Does she got any
She's got
bonds on her skin?
Sure.
Yes.
Or Or
Or
Nyx
four.
bites her at the end, and I really am scared of what his bite did, because
I
he's
know.
like, your mate should have marked you. So then what did that do? Like,
I got the impression it didn't protect her. Like, I don't
Because he didn't
I don't
bite her?
walk away
Like, he can
thinking that
bite?
something happened, but he could because
Bite.
like
Right,
because
right.
he didn't mark her.
like
Right,
almost
right.
like something would have stopped him from biting
like a
if they.
protection.
Yeah, you would have
Okay,
been more
got it.
protected.
Yeah.
You maybe you
like,
wouldn't
you
have even
can't bite
been
someone
able to
else's
bite you
mate.
because you're right, exactly.
I gotta wonder, Shivaria, can you get like naked in front of the mirror and look and see if you have
Real
any
quick,
bonds on you,
send us a
please?
text,
Like,
Shivaria.
let us know if you've got anything on your skin.
Latari Mobile, what was it? Akai Mobile.
1-800 Valtura.
Oh my God.
Okay, wow.
We got to get that. My mind. Let's get
there's a
back to the
lot.
actual
There's a lot.
episode,
Sometimes
everybody.
I actually really enjoy when we just start going insane.
This
and
is what happens
this
when we just
doesn't
hang
follow
out.
the outline.
No, it's perfect.
So
It's
fun.
perfect.
Okay.
They finally have sex. I can't believe we've been waiting this whole fucking time. And
This whole
they've
3
only
weeks.
just
Whole
had
fucking
sex.
3 weeks.
Month.
Whole fucking 3 weeks. I know, that's
The
the,
whole
other
time?
point. Fucking.
Non-fucking.
Oh my gosh. So we have a very, very important quote here.
Yes.
A thrum of silent thunder pulses like an echo. A gasp when a pain like nothing I've ever felt, blinding white and full of rapture, ignites in my chest, searing across my torso and bicep. It brings something I can't place, like a foundation formed in the deepest part of my being. Just as quickly as it came, the force begins to settle, snapping something taut inside me. Xavier's brow dips as if summoned by his sharp inhale of breath. A dark mark of ancient script wraps around his bicep to trail across his chest, ending beneath his heart. Hello, mating bond.
Mating
Hello.
bond. It has
And-
snapped into place, everybody.
And based on our last
Absolutely.
conversation, I feel a lot more confident now that like it has been cemented. And the only
Yes.
reason why she doesn't have the mark herself is she's simply human. Humans
Yes,
don't have
she's
that
in
mark, but
her
she
non-form.
should have it when we see her form, her Valtura form.
I think so.
Later on.
I think so.
Also, I want to give props to the sex because the sex is good.
Yeah, spicing is spicing.
The
Spice
spice
is spicing.
is
I don't
spicing.
want to
Gloss.
gloss over that too much.
Mhm.
This chapter is
Hot.
well written.
Actually,
it's hot.
it might be like 2 chapters, really.
Yeah,
it's hot.
it goes
bone
on
for
for
a
a long
while.
time.
I wanna make sure. Yes, the mating bond is important, but the mating bond makes sense because they have great sex together. So
And you would kind of hope if that's your mate, you would have great
I know,
sex. How
right?
Yeah.
sucky would that be?
God, that would be awful.
I don't think in the history of any fantasy.
Sack.
Yeah, any fantasy.
He can go to Rhea for tips.
There you go. Have some girl talk. That's funny.
And then after they have sex, he asks, "Will you remain an Acherai with me permanently?" And she's like, "Okay, I'm kind of put on the spot here."
Yep.
But the next morning, he asks her again, "Hey, will you stay in Acherai with me?" And she says, "You know what? I'd really like to shower before we have this discussion."
I feel like it says that because coffee doesn't exist in their world, and she couldn't be like, "I need my morning coffee before we have this conversation."
Yes,
So it's
like
like,
to
I'm gonna
wake
go
up.
take a shower.
Yeah. Let's go take a shower.
But also, it kind of makes sense. It's been 3 weeks. And to your point, Lindsay, let's move in. Let's be lifelong mates. Let me stay in Acherai permanently. Also, I have a psychotic of Vitruk hunting me, Xavier. Don't forget the crazy bitch that's after my life. And you want to commit ourselves to each other? I feel like my life is about to be forfeit. So maybe I shouldn't be making promises right now.
Right. Exactly. So he joins her in the shower, though. He says, "Absolutely, you can go take a shower, but I'm going to go with you." And then
Hello.
afterwards, and more hotness for sure. And then afterwards, he begs, "Tell me you'll stay, because now that I've found you, I know that whatever life I thought I had before was merely existing.
Oh, God,
and she
Xavian.
responds with, I want to stay.
She does want to. I took it as,
She does
I want to
Yes,
stay.
I want to, but I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a part of Shivaria, I know that there's a part of Shivaria that still has not let go of her Drakai Fadian mission
100%.
at this point. So she's saying, yes, I feel it for you. I want to stay, but I'm not quite sure because you don't really know me.
Right.
And also, like, she probably is still hung up on Vikesh. Like, so many times they'll have these intimate moments, and then she will immediately, in her brain, think about what just happened 3 weeks ago on the boat. So it's like, she's just not, it's been 3 weeks. Give the girl a little bit of time to process. The entire world is unraveling around her.
Right. Everything she thought was true.
She's dealing with a lot. Yeah.
A lot.
And she's still worried about Voss at this point. Like, and Xavian says to her, we are strong enough to deal with Voss when she comes for you. There is no safer place for you on Tear than by my side. So he is really underestimating the power
100%.
of Voss and the Vitruk still at this point.
100%. But King Theory, Lindsey, why is the safest place by his side? Because he's the king.
You literally can't get higher than me.
And then it is mentioned that an old friend is coming for dinner tomorrow, and I'd love you to meet my old friend.
Old friend.
Old
my
friend.
ass.
Old friend. All right.
Well, Shivaria sends for Felius, Uncle Felius, and tells him that she saw that shipment from Latari, and the sisters have introduced Felius to Eon's mate. Another sign, that they deeply trust him because they haven't even been shown to anybody else. And now they're going to, not only that, I'm going to show you my mate. Wild to me. So Felius is important. Felius tells us in this scene that the Vitruk are drawing their power from the Fae. This is going to be an important thing for us to keep in mind because what does this mean? What are the implications? I think we'll get into that, but important note here. And he also says that both kings, so both the Acharai king and the Latari king, are aware of the atrocity. So everything that is going on, the kings are well aware. I took this as there is no side that is in the dark, that is like under false pretenses. Like everyone has their eyes wide open and what's happening and their reactions to it and what they're choosing to do is with their full chest, right? Like 10 toes down, they know what's up.
And
That's
very
how I took that
interesting that Felius has that knowledge that both kings are very well aware of it.
Felius knows so much.
Everything.
He has so many secrets.
His
he
hair
has
is so
big
big.
hair.
His hair is so big. Yep.
Once Felius tells Shivaria all these things, she asks him, okay, but if this all is true, then why did the Acharai king sign the treaty after the war? He says he thought that he was doing the best for his people. So whatever that means.
Nice to know you have the inner insights to the Acharai king, Felius.
And all the strategy and all of this information.
Signed the treaty.
Xavian did sign the treaty.
I still don't think
Sure did.
Xavian knows that Felius knows.
Interesting.
I think Felius knows so many things, and nobody knows how much Felius knows.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree with that. Then Shivaria actually accuses Felius of working with the Fane and asks him why he hasn't given up her identity by this point. And she notes that there is now a creeping chill up her spine, which we know that is the sign that a Fane power is brushing up against hers. Whose is it then? Who is trying to brush up against you?
Yeah, like, I can't tell if this point is she's just feeling it because she's worried Felius is going to kill her because of his own allegiances. Or if
I think it's Xavian.
Or it's, Xavian, one of them, or something.
Yeah.
Or unhinged theory that it has no legs to stand on. Felius is actually a secret Fane and not a human.
Another secret Fane?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Xavian because later Shivaria says that Xavier has been watching their conversation and she doesn't realize it. So I think that, and then
He's
it leads you
keeping
to
an
the
eye.
question of like, what is he actually hearing? Because she straight up says, you know, I'm a Drakai.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Xavier very well in this moment could have overheard that, or he could just be kind of like using his power to like check in on her. Like maybe he senses that she's in distress or can see that they're having a distressful conversation and he's just kind of like giving her something. But
Or maybe
he
it's
is
not even
there.
his power. Could be his mating bond that she's
Yeah.
feeling. Maybe it has
He's
a similar
there.
sensation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, the other thing is that he says to her when she says, like, why haven't you given up my identity? His response is, quote, because Thehanya, interesting that he uses this word here, as I've said, I side with the Fae, and whether you've realized it or not, you are here for them. She responds to him. He knows. She responds to him. She goes, oh, you know what I am. She thinks she's talking about Drakai and all these things, but Filius means she is more than that. His response, or are you something else entirely, which he ponders with a smirk.
Were you something
I'm
else
sorry.
entirely?
I'm
Like
sorry.
maybe the Valtura.
The Valtura.
The
He
Hena.
speaks Fae.
He
Right.
definitely
Yes.
knows what she
He
is.
has to know
Oh,
he has
yes.
to
what
know.
that means. He's a double agent.
If he knows that she's the Henya, then he knows that that means that she's the Valtura.
Yes.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's no question. Yeah.
And I know, like I said, oh, he's a double agent, but Jess has said, is it both sides or is it all sides? Right?
All
like
sides.
All
he's a
sides,
multi-agent. So
He's a quad agent all the way
quadrigent.
around. But I
Yep.
want to go back to that discussion of the Vatruk are taking power from the Fae. And now that we've had our conversation about feeling some sympathies to the Vatruk, right? Especially if what they're doing is to save Vikesh's life, it kind of puts it in it doesn't forgive it. That's not at all what I'm trying to say, but it does bleed into that everything's not black and white. It's a bit morally gray. Obviously, killing Fae is not a good thing, but if the reason they are doing it is not just to take power for the sake of power, if it is to somehow find a solution and save Vikesh, I almost like that because I like it being the Vatruk are way more complex, right?
Yeah.
Of bad guys than simply being we still have power for the Fae from the Fae because we just want power. I feel like they're doing it for a reason. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's justified, but I can see if they have a reason, it makes it way more interesting of a story.
Yeah. And I feel like the veils very much complicate that because
Yeah.
what is happening in another veil maybe that could be that reason for them.
God.
Yeah, because the Vatruk are only in this veil. They're not in any other
Right.
veil.
Right. Oh my God, you guys.
I just love how so much depth is in this story. It's like nothing is going to be black and white. No character is who you think they are. Like literally no character.
All right. Well, I have a question for you guys, and I feel like you might have thoughts on. I am baffled by it. So Filius says a line. It feels really important. He says, couldn't keep yourself away from him, could you? I must say, when the fates aren't busy muddling my own life, I find that they have quite the sense of humor. He sighs exasperatedly. Your attachment to the male is of no consequence now. I have a feeling we are all set on a course we have little control over. Guys, what do you make of this?
Bombshell of a fucking
What is this?
paragraph.
What does this mean?
What muddling of his life? Has he met the fates? Has he actually met them and they're funny and they mess with his life? Like,
I don't think
Filius,
they're funny.
who are you hanging out with?
So-
Why do you find it funny? And oh my God, why is the male of no consequence? And what is this fate you're on?
Okay.
How do you know this?
The beginning of that, like the fates muddling with my own life, I feel like that connects to his triple, quadruple agency. I think that if you're a person that has positioned yourself in that way, and rather well, because seemingly none of the sides know that you are in that position. So you've done a good job.
Because you're still alive.
Gotta be right. Like, that's gotta be the fate smiling down at you, allowing you to work on all of those sides. So I would think that would be, he's like, you guys are laughing at me from up there somewhere, but also maybe kind of helping me out here that I haven't gotten my ass caught yet.
Right. Because who else is going to do your bidding like this, you know?
I'm going to put my stake in the ground and just say I'm going to say Felius has met the fates. I'm just going to make that declaration here and now with zero support. I'm just going to say it. He's met the fates, and that's because he knows all the secrets. So yes, I bet the Fae have met the fates. They have, Jess has told us where the Fae are concerned, the fates are concerned. Felius has gotten in with the Fae. I'm just going to guess with this statement, I'm going to take him quite literally. They fucked with his life. He knows it. He knows
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about the male comment, Lindsay?
Yeah. This one baffles me a little bit because I keep going back and forth between, does he know that Xavian is the king in this moment? And I kind of land on, I feel like I could easily make the argument on both sides, but the fact that he says your attachment to the male is of no consequence now, like, I don't know, I feel like with this line, I think that he doesn't know who Xavian is in the larger sense.
He doesn't say the male is of no consequence. He says your attachment, which really makes me worried because of their bond that they just went through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. So he appears to be working with Vikesh because we see them on the ship later on. And
together,
if you follow the oddly bouncing balls in our brains of who all of these people are, that would mean that he potentially knows that she was originally mated to Vikesh. So maybe that's his point here, is like, I don't care about
what you think is your
bond right now. Yeah. It doesn't matter because I know, I have a feeling we are all set on a course we have little control over. Like, he sees, again, we talked about it early in the episode of what is Vikesh's role in all this? Is he going to have to be sacrificed? And I think that's his point here, is it doesn't fucking matter who you're mated to, because we're all going to die, or the veils are going to...
Oh, that's depressing. We're all going to die. Nothing else matters.
Much bigger is happening. At the end of the day, your mating bond with him doesn't matter.
But the fact that Felius, a presumed human, knows all this fucking shit.
Yeah.
Fucking hished. Yep. Oh God, you guys. Oh my God.
I can't wait to get to 2 books from now and then reread all of Felius's shit and be like, I know what you mean now, boy.
Yeah. We need a Felius book. Friggin' Felius. Oh my God.
And then the next thing he tells her is that the Sprite sisters were expecting her, and that the rest of the Fae have begun to whisper about your arrival, as witnessed when she goes to Naya. And earlier in the episode, I kind of had made a point that I thought that maybe the Sprite sisters were there as some sort of protector to her. So this kind of helps support that thought a little bit, is that they were expecting her. They're there as a protection to Shivaria for sure.
Yep.
They've been assigned to her personally, and they actually assigned themselves to her personally. We will attend you.
Absolutely.
And then we learn the general has been watching this entire exchange. Quote, I glance back at the general. His eyes bore into me and my stomach pitches. He knows something. He doesn't trust me. He told me as much, but he's been keeping things from me as well. So it might have been his power.
Could be power mating bond.
I mean,
something.
If
or she literally just felt his stare.
Yeah,
I mean, it could
right?
be, but if he's the king
Just
and
the
a reaver really
wording.
can invade a mind, maybe he can
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
see what's up,
Yeah.
like to some degree.
I just feel like Jess is very specific with her wording, and the fact that she specifically says that she had a chill creeping up her spine. Like, if it was just like I felt weird,
Yeah.
Shibari would be like, oh, I felt it in my gut when Felix
Right.
said that. But the fact
Yep.
that she uses that exact wording, I feel like
Yeah, it
it's
means
a
something
little-
else. It means something
yeah.
else. And I think it's poetic that she says, but he's been keeping things from me as well. Yeah, like the fact that he's the king. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Also that.
They both really need to go into couples therapy if they want to
need
make
to-
this one work.
they
They need
need
to
to
learn
talk.
to communicate.
Yeah. I can't wait for the scene where they're like, but sorry, I didn't tell you everything. And the other one's like, but I didn't tell you everything either. So
Actually, I'm the king. Well, actually, I was sent here to kill you.
actually, yeah.
Whoops.
How's that all going to come out?
Let's go take a bath.
The next scene is actually, I love this moment in the book. Shavaria insists on spending the day in the garden, so Xavian moves all of his war meetings out there. And it is, I love it that she thinks it's so cute to see the war meetings in the garden. She says, I am enjoying the spectacle of what appears to be a tea party in preparation for a siege. And like, there's all this talk about like, there's flowers on the table and people are like bringing them snacks and sandwiches. And the generals and captains are like,
Might
What
as
is
well.
happening?
this is weird. And
Right.
Xavian just lets it happen to make her happy. And I think it's like the most adorable thing ever.
The most golden retriever boyfriend thing
It's
to ever
so
happen,
cute.
and it's Xavian.
And also golden retriever, but also he doesn't really trust her, and so he's like, I want to keep an eye
I
on
need to
you, but
keep an eye on you.
but he lets her do it in her own way,
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, he doesn't say, okay, you have to sit in a room with me while I have my meetings
Yeah.
in a boring
Right.
space. Like,
Yeah.
he takes it to her, so it's like a little mistrustful but a little sweet at
Yeah.
the same time.
100%.
And he doesn't stop her from listening in on them the whole time as
true.
well. And I mean, so maybe he doesn't trust you totally, but I mean, there's obviously some levels of trust he's giving her there.
If you have a mating bond, come on. I think you're going to have to get over the trust
Yeah.
thing. You're going to need to learn to trust each other.
Yep.
Kelly,
What-
just write that on a like t-shirt for them and
You
just
have a
hand
mating-
it to
trust me if
them.
we have a mating bond.
If we have a mating bond, you're going to need to learn to trust me.
All right. So around this time, they also realize that the Vitruk have stayed hidden because Arda is with them. Arda is who we theorize, it's not explicitly stated, but a process of elimination, Thai's mate. It would make sense why he is there. He is a Gleer. So Xavian admits, I never thought they, the Vitruk, would step foot upon these shores again. This complicates things. Thanks, Xavian. Finally glad you're maybe taking this a little bit more seriously. Yeah, the Vitruk are doing a lot more than you realize. And then they muse this thought. And he says, if not for the Fae, why would they come? They being, why did the Vitruk come to Acherai? And I feel like this quote proves Xavian does not at this moment, and none of them realize she is the Valtura. Like we keep
Correct.
going back and forth of the does, do they, don't they? Like what do they think she is? And I just think whatever it is they think, it's not Valtura.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I do think that it shows that the Vitruk have figured out that the Valtura is there. I don't think that they know yet that it's Shavaria, but
Okay.
they know that the Valtura is in Acherai.
Have we ever
Or at
postulated?
least her power.
Yeah. Have we ever
Okay.
postulated why the Vitruk decided to go after the Acherai king, like specifically?
In what instance? do
Like,
you mean?
like when we think about Sai and Ishka's house and all of that plotting, right? The Acherai king thinks he's safe from me, right? Obviously, I get the sense they are plotting specifically against Xavian the king, but
Yeah.
Have we really thought through like what is that reason for them? At least is it simply he is the king and but what is their catalyst for if it is because he's the king they want to get rid of him because he's the king? Like what is it?
I would think it's because he fought against them in the war. Right?
Yeah.
Like they know that he's opposite, that Acherai is in opposition to whatever it is they're trying to do. And so I think that they would be trying to get rid of the king and the person in power leading that opposition.
And
helping the Fae.
But is that really just like it? But then you got to think,
I mean,
only
that's
because
like basic war strategy, I feel like.
But I also
they're the veil of war.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like I feel like the Vatruk are doing what they're doing because of the whole issue surrounding the Sundering and Vikesh, right? So when I look at it from like that lens, I'm trying to fit how Xavian works into that. And is it just literally simply because he's the king? Or I guess going back to what I was thinking about when we were in chapter 30, if they found out Xavian had anything to do with it, like with his power, you know, when I was postulating what is his Reaver power, what did he do? Is it almost revenge maybe against Xavian? It just came into my head all of a sudden of what exactly are their motivations for targeting him specifically?
Yeah. I think it could be a mix of all those things. I think the most simple answer is it is the veil of war. Whoever the king is helping aid the opposite cause of them. And what do you do in a war? You get rid of the leader, the head of the other cause. And so I feel like that's the simple answer. But to your point, are there other things also at play?
Right. Given the conversation that Sai and Ishka and Ishara had, they might at this point know. They say he thinks he has us fooled, but he doesn't. Yeah. So at this point, they really could know that it's Xavian, which would make sense why they were going after him. It might be because he is Xavian, the Vatruk, the former Vatruk, them. Yeah. And they want their revenge. They know that he's against him, and they know how freaking powerful he is. Right. And they want to take his.
They want to take him out.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was musing. Like with him being there at the birth and death of the child and him not being with them now, like it's going to be way more complex. You know it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here come all the sprites.
Here they come.
All three of them. Here they come. We got Tig and Eon and Reg all together. And a couple of little back and forth conversations that they have here. She says, "Do you think I am Fae?" And they respond, "More." The old blood of the Fae is more. And then something which she can't quite pick up on their language about promises and fate. And so she's trying to put all of this together. Something left by the old blood of the Fae. And their response to her is, "You are what was left by the Fae." And then she says, "So then what are the Vatruk?" And they say, "Diej, evil."
They don't like them.
Which they don't like them. And that makes sense given all of their history that the Vatruk have been trying to drain their power. So we definitely have a line in the sand between the Vatruk and between the sprites representing the larger Fae species. It's a lot of our other characters of like, where did they fall exactly here and why? Right. But this is also mirroring the conversation that she had with Peleus earlier that says, "No, you are more." And now the sprites who she trusts implicitly are saying, "No, you are more." So guess what she's going to start believing? That she is more.
I am the chosen one.
She's like, "Oh, if they say it, it's true."
Xavian interrupts and she tells him that she wants to go see Auri. So she is making the rounds. She's like, "I want to see Peleus. I want to see Auri." Yep. She's got all these people that
she has questions.
She's got questions, and it's finally time for her to start asking not all the questions because she doesn't ask them all, but she starts to ask some questions here.
Yep.
And their conversation is a lot about Kashek. quote, Kashek nearly extended his gift beyond his ability, and Caden cannot heal that. So, the healer cannot heal the healer. Okay.
Or cannot heal, I guess, when you overexert yourself.
Whatever
Yes.
he did to himself, it's
Yes.
beyond his power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Shivari muses, I've never asked about their gifts, never danced around my curiosity in our mini conversations. Now, this does make sense, right? Mm-hmm. She was told from the beginning that Fane don't talk about their gifts.
Right. It's almost rude to ask.
It's rude to ask. So I'm not mad at this one. I get this one for sure.
Yeah.
Auri mentions a mating bond in reference to her parents, and Shivaria thinks, this is the first time in my life I've ever heard about a mating bond.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that insane, though? Like, nobody has used the words mating bond in her presence up until this point. They've said miajna, an undefined term for her, but it's just so crazy to me that nobody has said the term mating bond in this whole thing so far.
It feels like it's because it is that important. It is that secret. It is that sacred, exactly, that you don't just talk about it willy-nilly. Like we said, Jess is sneaky, and there's a reason why they have not said it.
And this does make sense where she's at right now, because she has only been in Acherai for a few weeks. You're just learning about their culture and their customs. You're not going to easily and quickly get to your religion and higher powers and what you believe in. And like, so it makes sense that mating bonds wouldn't have come up yet, especially since she hasn't been told that Auri and Kashek are mates yet. If that had happened, then she would have been like, oh wait, so you're mates. There's mating bonds.
There's mating
something
bonds,
like that. But those conversations never happened.
Right. She felt a mating bond earlier, if we're right.
Yes.
Yes.
We are right. That it snapped into place, but
100%.
No one's ever told her what that is.
Xavier, you got to have a talk with your girl about certain things, dude. Like, I feel like that should have been the conversation he introduced her to.
Absolutely. Especially
as your mate. Yeah. Like tell her what that feeling was. I'm going to put that one on him right here on that one.
Yep.
So Auri says, in continuing their conversation, I'm sure there must be a reason you continue to deny any truths laid before you. And while you seem content to live in ignorance, it is not without its costs. And that's a very spicy thing by Auri to say to her right there. She is, I mean, obviously she's reeling. Her mate is having to just recover naturally. There's no healer that can make him better. But it's just interesting how she kind of puts it all on Vari to have asked all these questions, you know? Because I'm almost like, you really fault Vari for not asking questions about mating bonds. She's never heard about mating bonds. Not asking about your gifts when Felius told her not to ask about gifts. Or just not realizing what her demon is, or that you guys have realized it. So it's a little petulant almost from Auri to just put it all on Vari of, you should have asked the questions, you should have asked him. Because unless it's simply Auri can't talk about it. You know, we've talked about the whole Zabian thing. But I feel like it's like, we'll own up the fact that if you can't talk about it and she has so many gaps in her knowledge, like, maybe be reasonable a little bit.
Here's the thing, though, and I'm going to fight you on this. Not really fight you on this, but Vari and Auri now at this point have become friends, right? And you have seen what Auri has gone through for these last however many weeks. Auri is so frustrated in this moment. By this point, her mate is nearly died. There is something so big happening. I can understand Auri being like, oh my God, like just being so done at this point that, yes, I get that she's like, oh, you should have asked different questions. And it's like, well, obviously she can't. But imagine being a Fane who is dealing with all this shit that you can't literally, if our theory is true, they can't talk about it because it's some kind of oath or some kind of magic, that you physically can't talk about it. Tell me you're going to sit there and not be frustrated and be like, I completely understand why you're not doing this. I can't fault her for that.
I don't fault the frustration. I fault maybe targeting Vari.
But it is her fault. It's her.
No, I'm saying Xavian also is not saying anything. And I know we've postulated that it could be an oath binding them, but if there isn't, because Xavian does say so many times, she's not ready, she's not ready, she's not ready. So if Xavian himself is the reason why they're not talking, it's not because of some oath. At least these secrets are not because of some oath, not his whole being the king thing. Yeah. If he's just saying, no, I don't want you to talk to her about this, and I'm going to make that edict as a king, I feel like a little bit of this blame should be shared more equally. But I get that Auri is reeling at this point. I just think there's a lot of blame to go around with nobody communicating at all.
Which is why I'm like, there has to be something else, because this is not, I cannot see this whole book being a major miscommunication trope. There is something else. And so I think because I so deeply believe that, I'm like, well, obviously they can't, you know what I mean? So if it was a miscommunication trope, I'd be like, really?
Or if it was literally, so if it's literally Xavian's like, well, she's not ready, so we're not going to talk about it, Kelly's going to be like, fuck you, Xavian. No.
It depends on what it is. It depends on if I believe that he was justified.
Like,
and we've talked about this conversation. Yes. We've talked about this before about like, did we actually think that she was ready? And the answer is like, no, actually, I didn't think she was ready. If that is the truth, and it's like, do the means justify the ends? I could be okay with it. If I don't think that the means justify the ends, I'd be like, well, F you, Xavier. You know, so it depends. It depends.
But if he's saying she's not ready, then it's like, well, Auri, she's not ready. Cool your jets. She's not ready. It sucks. I know. But she's not ready.
She's frustrated.
She's very frustrated. So Auri continues her conversation. She says, quote, I admit that when you were so inquisitive about the Fae, I expected you to be more open to all the possibilities outside of what you were taught by the Latari. Right. Vari replies, well, you said you didn't blame me for this, Keshek, being in the state he is in. And Auri says, well, maybe I'm lying to myself too. You know, like.
Which would make sense if they haven't yet piece together that Shivaria is the Valtura, then it would make sense that Auri hasn't blamed her for it yet, but yet it's also settling into her brain being like, but it really started when you got here, so maybe I am blaming you and lying to myself about it.
Yeah
like the timing just works out.
And I will say too, for all the times I defend Auri for being in that gray space, I actually feel like this is one of the first moments I feel like she is really being truthful, right? Like, well, maybe I'm lying to myself. Like, she is trying so hard to not blame her and to go along with all this stuff. But maybe I don't want to say like I'm human, because she's not human, but stripped. Like it is my natural, right? It's my natural ability to, I'm going to go there. And like, I would love to say that I can, but clearly I can't. And I kind of love this actual moment of what I feel like is true honesty. From her.
And she says, what does she want? Ask. I want you to know everything. And Vari she muses in her head. She's like, well, what can the female tell me without shattering the last of the small pains that remain of my life? What can she say that will not rewrite the histories of my world and all that I know? But deep down, I know that it is the threat that their truths pose to my reality that stops me. And I do like the fact that we're kind of getting this insight to Vari, because I know we've been frustrated with her not asking questions and like wanting to almost take a pulse with her of, well, what state are you in now that is stopping you? So it at least gives the reader an insight as to what she's thinking about right now, which I at least appreciated.
She has the power in this moment to say, she says, ask. And the hard part is that she doesn't ask the questions that she's been using prior. She switches and she says, okay, well then tell me about the power of the Fane. So she is starting to ask questions. I'm not sure if they're the right ones are the most important ones.
Right.
But it is important information. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the gifts of the Fane then. Quote, every Fane child is born with a connection to Shivay, the world soul. And as we grow, that connection strengthens into a bond, one that Shivay uses to produce a gift inside of us. Each gift is uniquely our own, some more subtly different than others, and all with differing degrees of power. That's really interesting to me. So to me, it reads like no two powers, no two Fane have exactly the right power. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, going to be important.
It's true because think about it. Auri is a Gleer, Arda is a Gleer, but there's obviously differences in the magnitude of their
Subtle.
own abilities.
Yeah, which is also genius because it means that just because you meet one Fane and they have this power doesn't mean that we can introduce another Fane in another book or later down the line that isn't have the magical ability to do something slightly different that
Levels.
messes with your head. Levels. There you go. We get back. So generally, Fane who are gifted with powers of the mind are considered the most powerful. Remember, the Reaver power is said to be some kind of connection to the mind, if that is the truth.
Said to be.
Said to be.
Very good
Said
words.
to be. Though that is not always the case. The power of our gifts is only as strong as our bond to Shivay. We've pulled this quote up a lot in this episode. A gift like Taurin's is physical in nature and could harm a tree just as easily as it could harm any Fane. Gifts like mine, illusion, so this is Auri speaking, and other gifts of the mind, while incredibly powerful, are only really effective if our target's bond to Shivay is weaker than our own. This is important because we have talked about this. I think we started this conversation in episode 3 of our coverage. We talk about the fact that not a lot of gifts work on Shivaria. In the dress shop, when Ashara says, forget everything that you saw. And Shivaria is like, what a weird thing to say. Because her power is more powerful. Her connection to she is freaking Shivay, people.
Nothing gets more close to Shivay than
truly,
the Shivay.
You cannot get closer. So this actually is another proof point, I think, to our theory that she is the child of Shivay.
But only mind powers, not saying physical. Like anybody could, like Taurin could freeze her hand off because it's a physical power. But at least
exactly. But the mind, her mind is stronger. It's stronger. Exactly. Auri also says that when she was little, she was jealous of Risha's power because it was so strong. Remember, he is a Breck, and so that means he can amplify or block out gifts. Quote,
or bind.
Or bind. That's true.
I think we find out he also
amplify,
can bind
block,
somehow.
or bind gifts. Quote, it is a very powerful gift, rendered completely useless against a Fane of greater power. Take Xavian, for example. I would be lucky to convince him that my rug is a different shade of green. He is that much more powerful than you? She nods. What if Rish amplified your power, I wonder? Could you do it then? She nods again, somewhat more hesitantly.
I feel like this is just so like hint, hint, nudge, nudge. That's what we're doing. Like it just feels like we're being given an answer right there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Especially when Auri hesitates. She's like, yeah, what are you thinking? What are you figuring out?
Right. Exactly. What connections are you making here? Auri says, I hope you will understand if I don't say much about them, talking about gifts. Knowledge about our gifts and the strength of our bond to Shivay can be the difference between life and death.
We don't talk about Fight Club. Like, just kidding. We don't talk about Fane
Just
gifts.
kidding.
But, like, the number one rule of Fane gifts is that we don't talk about Fane gifts.
100%.
So ask your questions, but don't ask that question.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we don't talk about
Exactly.
We find out that Kashek is no better, despite Auri's insistence that Bari's questions would help them. So I kind of wonder if it's just like asking questions somehow magically makes them feel better, or it's just simply unraveling this whole thing.
The information
is gonna
it's
make
just
it
coming to the
better.
truth. Yeah.
We
Yes.
need you to know, but we can't tell you. So we need you to ask so you can understand what's happening and we can finally like drive towards whatever this is together. That's my guess.
But Kashek, maybe stop overexerting yourself in the future, dude. Like, chill.
But also, do you have to, are you overexerting yourself because you're like saving the freaking world right now?
Saving the world. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. Maybe
like-
don't take a break. Like, sorry. Save the world first.
But he's taking a break right now. He's laid up.
He is laid up.
Yeah.
He sacrificed everything, essentially.
Yeah. Vari asks, can you show me your gift? Right? Can I see yours? And Auri says very cryptically, I hope you believe me when I say that if I could show you, I would. And I really would have loved her to have owned up a little bit more of like, you are something that is more powerful than me, and my gift does not work against you for that reason. I would have loved this moment of Auri just saying, fuck it, I'm just going to tell her right now. She asked a pointed question, and I'm just going to tell her. But
unless she can't.
I don't think
I
she
know.
I
but
think we're
I
harping
wanted
on it, but she
wanted
can't.
it
I
so
know.
much to be like, you know what? Fuck this. I do what I want. Here's why I can't work my
Fuck the
gifts
whole plot
on
of
you.
the book with the
Yes.
oaths and all this stuff. I'm just going to tell you.
And then Vari thinks, well, of course she won't. She just told me how important their secrets are, then baited me into asking questions to which she only gives partial truths. And I do think this kind of supports why Vari always asks Velius. She always asks the Fae questions. She still just doesn't trust these Vane. Like she sees them like holding back against any question she asks them.
Yeah. I don't blame her. I mean, and they haven't known each other that long. You're right. She hasn't always gotten the full truth from them. Anyone would be like, well, I don't really know if I can actually trust you. So I actually get it. I get her frustration here.
Shivaria leaves Auri and she goes back to Xavian. And Xavian gives her some pieces of information. He tells her that Arda is a Gleer and has been hiding the Vitruk and the Latari soldiers. Totally makes sense why they found an empty ship and couldn't find the people that steered the empty ship. Absolutely.
That's powerful,
Ghost crew.
though. Like,
Right.
like literally, if they're like invisible, like standing
Imagine.
there, and he can literally make people invisible.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, Arda.
Yeah. And it's another instance here, I think, of Xavian underestimating them or just really not realizing how powerful they have gotten potentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe something brought upon that power that he doesn't know about.
I mean,
don't
think about
know.
it. They've been taking power from the Fae. So if that's like amplified their own gifts, because he doesn't realize how many of the children's lives of Salem they've been sucking up, then maybe it makes sense. They're way more powerful than he expects at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And if our theory is true that he was one of the Vitruk and he left them, who knows what could have happened in the meantime? So he's got no clue.
And then, more importantly, Xavian tells her that his teeth, his fangs, are for violence and pleasure. And she says, show me, baby. And he says, not yet, but maybe soon. She doesn't call him baby, for the record.
No.
That was Lindsey.
That was a little Lindsey.
Come on, Zebe, will you bite me?
Zebe, bite me, Zebe.
Bite me.
Then she notices, more importantly, or less importantly, depending on how you look at it, that he has a new bargain inked into his skin. And he says, no, this isn't a bargain. This is a bond. Bargains have to be fulfilled. Bonds are given without agreement or price. And again, earlier in the episode, we speculated that she doesn't see that bond, even though we witnessed her feel that bond because she is not in her true form at this point.
Yep.
Okay. Vari goes on to say that neither of them really trust each other. And Xavian says, you know what? I'm deciding right now that I'm going to trust you. This is the moment I'm going to start trusting you. And I kind of believe him.
It's a choice, essentially, to trust.
Yeah. I believe him. What does it mean for when he finds out that she's the Valtura? What does it mean that when he finds out that she was sent to assassinate him?
Right.
Like, that could be scary, but I do believe him in this moment. And it does make me feel like his response to her when he does learn all those things is, I've hidden a lot too. This is who we are. We're mates. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you die? No. We
Right.
didn't kill
Right.
you.
Did you die?
Right. We also kind of get another, I think, proof point here that supports our theory that he is the king in this quote. He says, "Since I cannot read your mind, just as you cannot read mine, it will have to be my choice."
Reaver.
Yes, I feel like we've said it a bunch of times about the connection with the mind
Yeah.
and invading the mind in a Reaver. I think this is him admitting that he is a Reaver because he can, normally he can invade people's minds, but as we've seen, nobody's power works on Shivarya because she is more powerful. And so I think it's a nod to the fact that he's not just saying a cute, well, we can't read each other's minds. He's saying, well, no, actually, usually I can, but I can't read your mind. And so I guess we're going to have to trust you.
See,
I don't take it that
did not
way.
read it.
Really?
Yeah, nope.
I read it as just telling us he is
He
not a
is-
Reaver, and he is telling you in this moment that
Oh.
that is not his power.
And I've got a third one so that we can all be
Oh,
different.
I didn't read it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
He is a Reaver, but that is not what a Reaver does. He cannot read people's minds. A Reaver does something else. I love that we
Interesting.
have all different ways of reading a
Interesting.
paragraph.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to
sentence.
find out.
A
A sentence. A
One
clue.
single
Fun.
sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
So just for funsies, let's put a pin in this one because
Mhm.
I think that this is the first time that we have all three have very different reads of something. Like usually,
Yeah.
there's like two of us or like we're kind of in the same area, but this is three extremely different reads on one sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
love
I
it.
feel like we should mark this and come back to this just for funsies.
I love it.
Later
Okay.
on.
This
Yeah.
is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So then Avari is kind of musing and also having a conversation with Xavier. She says, even my body stiffens in rebellion as I consider giving him that kind of power over me, basically giving him her trust. And she admits to him, I've trusted before. And a muscle ticks in his jaw, and he says, I know. You are too young to be so guarded without the hurt that comes from betrayal. If I knew who he was, I would end him for breaking that trust. That was hot. She then muses, I would never put him in a room with the Shadow Master. Even after everything, it would break me beyond repair to see either of them injured by the other. Oof, that's foreshadowing.
Oh God.
And I
think
don't
I wrote
like
in the-
it.
I wrote in the margin of my book, like, wait, Xavier and Vikesh fight, LOL.
Oh.
LOL, no. No.
LOL.
No. That would be so bad.
Fight.
I'm going to be
For
the
the
reasonable
first
one.
time.
Can we all please just calm down, take a few breaths in and out, please?
And I'll be in the ring being like, all right, you there, let's do this.
No, Kelly's going to be like, first you, then you. Let's all
off.
work together.
First, uniforms on. Why are you not in uniform?
But it's true. Like, A, it makes you wonder what he knows, and B, that's gotta be foreshadowing.
Oh, 100%.
That there is going to be
100%.
an ultimate showdown between Vikesh and Xavier.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Think
So-
about it. If we're right and they're both mated to her in a way, they're gonna fight.
How sucky would it be to be Xavier, who was there at the birth of this child, who then is going to steal your mate? Be like,
I told
"Bitch,
you
I
it's a
was
total
there.
kick in the
I
balls."
saw them wipe your butt.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine? Listen, I
You
was there
were
when
a
they changed
child.
your diapers, okay?
Your
You were a
nappies.
child. Your nappies. Yeah, what do they call it in this world? It's not going to be
Probably
a diaper.
nappies.
Nappies.
It's probably a
Probably, yeah.
nappy,
Yeah.
Oh,
But
God.
Pants.
he
Change your pants.
change your pants. But he continues and he says, when you're ready, Miajna, I will tell you everything. So again, this still makes me wonder if she has to ask the questions to break the bonds that give the answers, or if it truly is Xavier saying, because I'm kind of taking him at face value here of, when you're ready, I'm going to tell you everything, as then he's deciding she's not ready. And so that's why all of these reveals are not taking place. And in which case it's kind of like, well, is it just because he knows her as her mate that she, like, there's something he can see into her soul that tells him she truly is not ready to receive this information? And is that really our answer for all of this, all this miscommunication?
And then finally, Shivarya asks, what does Miajna mean? And Xavion's response back to her is, quote, Miajna is something precious, a vital piece that is missing from the core of a Fane when they are born. Something life is meaningless without. You are Miajna, and I've searched for you for millennia. Never did I expect that the fates would be so kind when they crafted you for me, just as I was crafted for you.
And that's that quote I said is really depressing. If she wasn't crafted for Xavion.
I know.
Right. And he seemingly knows that.
I don't think he seemingly knows. He doesn't. I don't think he knows that Vikesh was ever Shivarya's mate, because because only mates know who their mate is in this world. So he would have no way of knowing that Vikesh was the mate. But it's more the fact that he believes it in his bones that she was crafted for him and vice versa. And if it's not really the case, that's just really, really sad.
It's so sad. I also want to point out the fates here again. The fates are coming up again. Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out he did not translate the word Miajna, and that pisses me the fuck off. Say that Miajna means mate, dude. Come on.
Right.
That one's on you, Xavion. She literally asked you point blank, what does Miajna mean? Let me give you a flowery definition and not actually translate the word.
Because there's a reason.
You say it, but if it's just you're not ready.
But I believe that there is something more.
I want to believe you are correct, Kelly. I want to, because otherwise, Xavion, come on.
Shivarya's response is, but when he says it, it tugs an invisible thread in my chest. It is firmly tethered to his own on the other side. You have me. But let's go back real quick to when we've talked about a thread previously in this episode. Okay? It is when they fought to bind the fading threads of the child's life to tear. The sundering wrenched away the tender budding threads of life they had so carefully woven. And then again, the last thread binding the delicate facade that is my life. So there's a lot in this language of threads and fates and connections.
And can I add another one that's going to even support you even more? At the very last chapter, when Vari confronts Vikesh, she leaves him, and this is the parting line. Every step away from him unravels a binding that I hadn't realized tethered my very soul.
Wow. Wow.
And to do another one, just because now I see that it's like between my chest and all, the chest specifically. At the beginning of chapter 41, when Vikesh saves her, like gets her out of the water, she says, there's a ripple in the deep stillness, a heart beating in time with my own. Like she's feeling it between both the heart, the thread, the bindings, both.
And it's funny because I took that quote as I took it as Shivay, which either way, if it's Vikesh or Shivay, it's super powerful when it comes to Vari and comes to her characterization, because she is connected to all of those things.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, it's deep. Okay.
This is a good quote.
So many levels.
Yep. And then the continuation, as much as it's a relief to finally admit to myself and to speak aloud to him, I'm gripped by the fear of what I'm giving the male. Myself, unguarded and defenseless, now that he knows that he is what I want. Only once before I have spoken these words to anyone, and I push down the memories as quickly as they rise. Never, Miajna, I will never hurt you, never betray you. And she continues again with some mind reading. I thought you said you couldn't read my mind. I don't need to read your thoughts to feel the desire welling within you. It's the same as my own.
Can you feel that? I ask, pulling back to read his eyes, speculating as to the male's gift. He nods. Sometimes there's a great deal I can feel from you. Other times, nothing at all.
And I have to think it's their mating bond that's doing that.
I think there's a lot. I feel like it's some sneaky language. I feel
Yes.
like there's some non-pronouns in here. Like earlier, I kind of feel like she's talking about both, and we don't know which is which yet. Like which is gift, which is bond here.
I agree.
Which makes sense because Shivaria herself doesn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
This
We
is
have
from
no clue.
Shivaria's perspective. So if she is unaware of what is bond and what is gift, the reader is unaware of that too.
Yeah.
100%.
But powerful language there for sure.
The best part about this, she finally realizes in this moment that she does not want to kill the Fane King anymore. Finally, her mission is out the window.
Yep.
She says, quote, learning that he is protecting the Fae from the Vitruk is reason enough to want him to live. But apart from that, I know now that I could never intentionally injure the male that lays by my side. Not by ending the life of his king, but it's him anyway. Not by ending the life of his king, not in any way that I can fathom. My very being recoils at the thought of that betrayal. I am Drakai no longer, and I will never be Fadian. I have to tell him. This is not a secret I can keep from him forever. Guilt that the male who has given himself to me will be forced to execute my punishment. My brow pinches when I am struck with the realization that the choice to punish me is something I can take out of his hands. I can do this for him. I will tell the king and let him seek justice as he sees fit. Tomorrow I will seek the king and let the fates decide which of the few remaining paths left of my life I will tread.
So powerful.
So good.
Finally.
I kind of love it that we're ending the episode right
It's
here.
perfect.
It's a good ending.
It's such a good moment for
It's
her.
so perfect. Holy crap. It is so
But
perfect.
it's nice that she's finally realized something about herself, right? Like, and it's such an integral name that she has been for so long. Drakai, Fadian.
Yeah.
And it's at least one of those declarations people have made about her that she is choosing to cast off. Like, she's trying to learn who she is as a person. And I think this is the first step in casting off these labels that people are giving her.
Yeah, and we'll continue to see that in other parts of the book. It's amazing.
This
Such a
was
good
so
moment.
much fun episode. So
You
fun.
guys. Well, that is a wrap on episode 5. We have presented here some pretty unhinged theories.
Absolutely.
So we would love to hear from listeners. Did you catch these things? Do you agree with our arguments? Do you disagree with our arguments? I feel like these are big thoughts, and we have staked some pretty big claims here, which we could be totally wrong about.
Absolutely.
I don't think that we are. I feel pretty strongly
No, we're
about them,
perfect.
but we could be.
I think we
So
have
we'd
a
love to hear
high
from you.
chance of a couple of those
Yes.
being spot on. But yeah.
Either way, we would love to hear from everybody.
Yes.
Except
For
about
sure.
the king. Xavian's the king. Don't talk to us about it.
Don't
Remember
argue about
that
one.
suggestion box is closed. We're not
That one,
accepting
not
Yep.
accepting
comments.
it.
Correct. So next time we will be wrapping up our deep dive of Child of Shivay and covering chapters 35 through 41. Thank you so much for joining us for book club this week, and be sure to join us for the next Fantasy Friday. Happy reading. Bye.
Bye.
This episode is sponsored by Vedora Marie, who is the official merchandiser for Child of Shivay. There are a few different collections up on the website now, so you can choose from Join the Drakai, Bargain with a Fae, Celebrate Complicated Relationships, and Befriend Wood Sprites. The designs are so perfect for the vibe of this book, so be sure to go check out all of the shirts, hats, cups, sweatpants, everything you would need. Together with Fedora Marie, we are sponsoring a giveaway after the release of our final episode, so go check out our Instagram for more information.